Chapter 301. Thousands of armies avoid the white robe _4. Right? Fan Tianfa pointed at the map. Let's not worry about other areas for now. Just focus on taking down Jiaodong Prefecture first, and then we can figure out how to spare some forces to face the reinforcements. Report. A subordinate reported. News came just before tea time. Vice General Chen and 3,000 black armor troops are heading north and are now in Meizi County under Xinhua Prefecture. Meizi County, where is that? Meng Qiuji squinted his eyes and searched on the map but could not locate such a place even after a long time. Here it is. Finally, it was Zhan Taoming who placed his finger on a city that appeared as minuscule as a grain of dust. What kind of godforsaken place is this? I wouldn't want it even if it were given to me. Fan Tianfa hammered the map. Moreover, with Xinhua Prefecture and Jiaodong Prefecture, one in the far south and the other in the far north, is he planning to conquer them one by one starting from the far north? Just the cities in the prefectures number 36, not to mention the hundreds of cities in the counties. Is he planning to do this for the next 5 years? What exactly is Vice General Chen trying to accomplish? Meng Qiuji also seemed puzzled and ordered, "Quick! Send a message to Vice General Chen at once. No matter what his strategy is, I want him to immediately rush back to the south and take Jiaodong Prefecture first." Meizi County. After consuming the spiritual grain and treasure medicine, Chen Sansi was cultivating on top of the city walls. His 5 tigers' soul-breaking spear transformed like a dragon python, dancing wildly in the cold wind with tremendous power, gradually stirring up an invisible tornado of force around him, the exploding bricks and tiles on the walls proving its existence. The cultivation of the meridian passage method to mastery is called opening veins. Just as Tong Chao is about opening the body's apertures, opening veins naturally involves opening the 12 main meridians of the human body for storing power, and the amount of power stored depends on previous accumulation. Again, one mistake leads to many, this time breaking through the bottleneck. It was the easiest in Chen Sansi's history. Almost every time he practiced with the National Guardian Dragon Spear, he would open a main meridian, and just an hour later, all 12 main meridians were fully opened. But he did not stop. It's not over yet. Chen Sansi could feel that after using power to penetrate the acupoints and burst through the meridians, the changes were still continuing. Every time he combined spear technique with the control of power to circulate it within the body for a full cycle, the already open meridians would continue to widen a bit more. This time it was truly opening veins. For most martial artists, the previous step marks the end, but for naturally talented martial artists, this moment is the real beginning. They would need to use all the power in their bodies to strike the meridians. The more power, the more the meridians would widen, thus the more power could be stored in the future. The competition is about who can persist longer in the state of opening veins. And endurance has always been his strong suit. Boom! Chen Sansi's body entered an overdrive mode, the blood of the dragon elephant coursing ceaselessly, gradually transforming into a blood explosion state. With a speed unreachable by ordinary humans, the generated power continuously hammered his own meridians, and then, enduring all the pain brought by the Vajra body, all his advantages were starkly highlighted. After hundreds of cycles, he was not even slightly tired. His meridians strengthened and widened time and again, until after 300 cycles, he only gradually began to feel fatigued, then gritted his teeth and continued to persevere. During this period, Hai Dongqing returned with intelligence, not even bothering to look at it, all handled by Xiaozong instead. Until 600 cycles later, Chen Sansi's body was already soaked with sweat, as if he had just been drenched in a heavy rain, his complexion revealing an extreme pallor of weakness, his veins bulging prominently. In front of him, seemingly empty, he appeared to be fighting a formidable opponent. This opponent was himself. 800 cycles. Chen Sansi's eyes were bloodshot, now looking akin to a poisonous beast. His heart transformed into a battle drum, the sound audible even to subordinates not far away. His lungs numb, his throat and mouth filled with a nauseating bloody taste, and scalding white steam continuously emanated from his body, from afar resembling a god or demon, albeit one close to death. 900 cycles. His arms lost sensation. His base no longer as stable as mountains. His vision intermittently darkening, unsure of the year or even his own location. His remaining consciousness all focused on the long spear, pushing the spear technique through muscle memory until completely draining the last trace of chi blood and the last bit of power, then finally collapsing with a thunderous fall. 1,000. A full 1,000 cycles. Ordinary martial artists could at most manage 100, and geniuses often do not exceed 300.
Cultivation technique, National Gardien Dragon Spear. Méridien Passage, expert.
Progress. 0/1000. Utility. Power like a vast ocean. Power like a vast ocean. If the power stored inside an ordinary Meridian Passage martial artist is compared to a small stream, then he was like an infinite ocean. General. 2 subordinates wanted to come over and support him. Chun Sansi raised his hand to indicate they need not help, and leaning against the city wall, he caught his breath. After consuming 2 elixir pills to replenish chi blood, he quickly recovered. General. Xiaozong finally dared to speak. The letter said, "The Emperor of Qing personally leads the army, and in about 50 days they will arrive at Green Ridge Mountain. Meng Dashui is asking what exactly we are doing. He hopes we can return quickly, directly press toward Jiaodong Prefecture, and not cause unnecessary complications, lest we miss the opportunity for battle." After hearing this, Chun Sansi calmly asked, "What day is it today?" Chapter 302. Thousands of armies avoid the white robe _5. It's only the 2nd day. That is to say, there are still 7 days left. But, Xiaozong holding the letter, Commander Meng hopes. So it's a suggestion, not an order. We can choose to follow it or not. Chun Sansi said, "Inform the commander of our true intentions faithfully, but the plan remains unchanged. We will continue to stay here for 7 days." Yes. Lai State. Since last November, a national war involving a total of 300,000 troops from both sides had been underway. On the 6th day of the 12th lunar month, King Jing of Nansu, Ligong, was defeated at Wutian Mountain, leading to the loss of 5 prefectures including Lei Mountain and Guihai. Marquis of Anong Meng Qiuji led 150,000 Shang country soldiers and horses to break into Qing country's territory. With a lightning strike, he divided the Lai State battlefield, cut off Qing country's supply lines, and sought to destroy them in parts, annihilating them one by one before concentrating the advantageous troops to fiercely attack Yongyu Prefecture, determining the victory of this war. As a result, fierce siege battles were taking place day and night within Lai State's borders. Until the end of the 12th lunar month, a General Chun from the northwest border of Shang country issued a silent order to encircle 3 and leave 1, causing the front lines stretching thousands of miles to fall silent overnight. It was as if a thunderstorm had abruptly stopped at its most ferocious, but the dark clouds in the sky did not dissipate, still covering the entire land and looming over the 200-plus cities within Lai State, plunging them into an eerily dead silence. In each of Qing country's cities, the garrison could see their own brothers, in neat rows, moving toward the deep interior of Daqing. They were going home. This was the exact intelligence gathered by Qing country's scouts. Daqing was releasing the surrendered soldiers. They not only refrained from killing or tormenting the captured prisoners but also distributed dried food, escorting them eastward back to their homes. That is to say, even if they lost this battle, as long as they surrendered obediently, there would be no price to pay, and they could reunite with their wives and children within a month. Moreover, the persistent persuasion to surrender by Shang country soldiers outside each city caused all the defending armies within Qing country cities to be in a state of panic. However, every Qing country city's commander was telling their subordinates, "Brothers, hold on for a few more days. Our reinforcements are coming soon. Just the last 40 days. No, 30 days." To give everyone, each city's commander used the psychological tactic of quenching thirst with hope, shortening the stated arrival time of reinforcements to boost the troops' morale. In fact, Qing country's reinforcements were indeed almost there. The spies within the territory almost daily sent back new intelligence, and each time Qing country's reinforcements had advanced a great distance. Therefore, not only were the soldiers and generals of Qing country anxious, but the soldiers and generals of Shang country were also nervous. They didn't understand why they had to stop when they had been winning all along. If the attacks continued, how long it would take to capture the city was uncertain, but they knew that if they kept dragging on like this, they would only be waiting for Qing country's reinforcements, which might lead to a major defeat. Outside Yongyu Prefecture, the military camp of Dashing. Mel. Bang. Fan Tianfa had just finished reading the intelligence from Meizi County and nearly toppled the entire sand table over. Commander Meng, Chun Sansi is crazy. Do you know what he said? He not only refused to go to Zhaotong Prefecture, but also plans to stay in Meizi County for 10 days. 10 days. If we wait these 10 days, Qing country's reinforcements will arrive. What should we do now? Zhang Taoming paced back and forth, his face full of worry. Commander Meng, my advice is to revoke Chun Sansi's command authority and issue a death order for him to go to Zhaotong Prefecture. Meng Qiji pondered deeply. The current situation, if Zhaotong Prefecture could not be taken and this deadlock continued endlessly, it would indeed become very dangerous. He sighed and said, "It was my fault for trusting Chun Sansi too much. The responsibility is mine. I will revoke his command authority immediately and then issue a death order for him to go to Zhaotong Prefecture. Whether it's by persuasion or force, as long as he can take Zhaotong, he will have passed the test." Everyone, calm down. Just then, an attendant pushed Fang Qingyun into the Central Army tent. He said leisurely, "Have you all forgotten something? Initially, Vice General Chun told us he would take down all 36 prefectures of Lai State, not just one. Can't we see his plan? Rushing headlong into the northeastern direction is to push from north to south in a sweeping advance. But how is this possible? It would take so much time." Fan Tianfa said anxiously, "We didn't ask for so much. Even the military order specifically mentioned only Zhaotong Prefecture. It would already be good to take Zhaotong Prefecture. Yes, General Fang, Vice General Chun has used too many ingenious strategies. He's somewhat too greedy and isn't suitable for the current situation." Meng Qiji said gravely, "The pressing matter is to capture Zhaotong Prefecture and then split our forces to deal with Qing country's reinforcements at Green Ridge Mountain. Anything else will have to depend on the situation." Not enough. Just one Zhaotong Prefecture is not enough. Fang Qingyun raised a letter. "I have just received information. The King Jing from Nansu has gathered 100,000 troops, and they're now on standby at the border. 90% chance they will reach the outskirts of Green Ridge Mountain in coordination with Qing country's reinforcements." "How many?" Meng Qiji's expression grew solemn. 100,000. Isn't Su country still at a stalemate with Prince Jiannan? If they can dispatch so many troops, are they preparing to lend their full national strength to assist Qing country? Truly, one move sets the whole body in motion. All of these were triggered by the chaos in Ming State. These enemy countries had been preparing for a long time. Chapter 303 Thousands of Armies Avoid the White Robe _6. Thankfully, the chaos in Ming State was quelled in time. Otherwise, I dare not imagine what the consequences would have been. Fang Qingyun continued. By then, the allied forces of the Qing and Su nations will amount to 200,000. If we cannot conquer all the cities and gather all our troops before this, it is impossible to face such a multitude. So, just Zhaotong Prefecture is not enough. Vice General Chen's strategy is correct. Only by taking all 36 prefectures can we have room to maneuver when facing the 200,000-strong army, and avoid a complete collapse. Despite that, Meng Qiji pointed at the expansive terrain on the sand table with his scabbard and said, "With only about 40 days left, how do we take down 36 prefectures? If they were going to surrender, they would have done so by now. There's no need to have been delayed until now at a single Mei County. Clearly, they are unpersuadable. The likelihood is indeed slim, but..." Fang Qingyun countered, "Do you gentlemen have a choice? Now there are only two paths. Either believe in Vice General Chun, or withdraw the army early. Withdraw the army? Fan Tianfa said. Wouldn't that greatly disappoint His Majesty? Plus, we've been fighting for so long. Withdrawing now would mean all our efforts were in vain, wouldn't it? Consider the impact on the soldiers' morale. Since that's the case, why not wait and see? Fang Qingyun looked at them and patiently persuaded. It's only been 10 days. 2 months are still far off. Perhaps Vice General Chun will really succeed. General Fang. Meng Qiuji sensed something was amiss. You have so much faith in Vice General Chun. Could it be that you have guessed his strategy? Vaguely. Fang Qingyun expressed with emotion. And if I'm not wrong, this strategy wouldn't work for anyone else. They would only come back in disgrace. But if Vice General Chun employs it, there might be unexpected results. Why? Meng Qiuji asked. Because he commanded the 4 crossings of Hengze River and is a military genius?
No.
Fang Qingyun paused briefly. It's just because of the name, Chan Sansi. As you please. Meng Qiuji had no interest in persisting any further as he never took risks. Be prepared for both. On one hand, let Chen Sansi continue what he wants to do and, on the other, make preparations for a retreat. General Fang, please plan the retreat route and ensure it is orderly. You know the consequences of chaos during a retreat. Need I say more?
Mei County.
The 10th day. Atop the city wall, Chan Sansi, who had been resting with his eyes closed, suddenly opened them. Assemble! We march! The bugle sounded. The Xuanjia army, having rested and built up strength here for 10 days, gathered in front of the city gates. Thousands of residents of Mei County lined the streets to see them off. It wasn't like the dispatch of a foreign army, but rather the sending off of their own troops. During these 10 days, the Xuanjia army not only distributed grain from the storehouses, but also executed a few corrupt officials and local tyrants with notorious reputations. They were genuinely supported by the local residents, and their fame had already spread hundreds of miles around and was still continuing to spread. Mr. Chan, Xia Tsong asked anxiously. What do we do next, sir? There's not much time left. Even if we head directly south, the timing would just barely suffice, probably leaving no spare time to stop. The 4th step, the momentum is established, rolling eastward unstoppable. Chan Sansi advanced on his horse. From here to the southeast, all the cities we pass through, no matter their size, will surely surrender to us. Prepare yourselves to receive the official seals and manage the surrendered soldiers. Ensure everything is done orderly and without any chaos. Jimen County. Mr. Chan. They're here. They're really here. The Xuanjia army, 3,000 strong. Leading them is Chan Sansi in a white robe on a white horse. What about the situation in Mei County? Is it really as County Magistrate Li said? Exactly the same. The Xuanjia army not only spared soldiers' lives, but also distributed grain from the storehouses. County Magistrate Li even got his position back. Then what are we waiting for? County Magistrate Zhao stood on the city wall, looked at the dense crowd below, and hardly hesitated. Quickly open the city gates. Welcome, General of Dashing. The city gates flung open. The county magistrate and inspectors came out to surrender and handed over the official seals and weapons. After staying for less than half a day, the Xuanjia army continued southward. Jiangda County. The Xuanjia army has arrived. White robe on a white horse, no mistake. Lord 1,000 households, do we surrender or not? We have 1,000 men in the city. We can last 2 days if we fight. Fight for what? To still die after 2 days? Open the gates. Surrender. Zuya County. How is it? Have the neighboring 2 counties surrendered? They have. Hurry and open the gates. Welcome, Mr. Chun. That's right. Tie up the stubborn scouts from Xinhua Prefecture and present them to Mr. Chun. In just 5 days, all 12 counties of Xinhua Prefecture had surrendered. Only Xinhua Prefecture City itself was still stubbornly resisting, with about 4,000 soldiers remaining within. Atop the city walls. My lord, It's terrible. The entire Xinhua region has surrendered. Now only we are left. It's not just that they've surrendered. Khoi County has even detained our scouts. As for the food and fodder within the city, we claim to have enough for 20 days. But in reality, it's only enough for the last 10 days. Uncle.
Du Baozon Urged, Surandé.
The Xuanjia army led by General Chun is an army of benevolence and righteousness. Surrendering to them would be the best outcome. Ma Hu questioned, will they really not kill us? They won't kill us. Pointing to himself, Du Baozong said, otherwise, how would I have come back? Report. It's been verified. The surrendered soldiers truly all went through Ghost Gate Canyon and returned home. Let's go home too. Yes, let's go home. Open the city gates. Ma Hu gritted his teeth. The food in the city was insufficient, and they couldn't wait for the reinforcements that were supposed to arrive in 2 months. Surrender! Qianjiang Prefecture. White robes, white horse. Chun Sansi leading the Xuanjia army has arrived. We still have 3,000 brothers. 3 months' worth of food and fodder. We can hold out until the reinforcements arrive. What use are reinforcements? If there were reinforcements, why would Xinhua Prefecture have surrendered? 9 out of 10. They're just deceiving us to keep holding on. Open the city and surrender. Yuansu Prefecture. General surrender. The neighboring cities have all surrendered. If we don't surrender now, there'll be no chance left. Go to hell, I was born a man of Daqing, and I will die a ghost of Daqing. I absolutely will not betray my country. General, there's no need to betray the country. After surrendering, we can go through Ghost Gate Canyon back to Daqing, and in a few months' time we can come back for revenge. Right, this isn't betrayal, it's just a temporary measure. The city is empty anyway. Surrender. Izhou Prefecture. My lord, the civilians have revolted. Audacious troublemakers. I've been desperately defending the city for them. How dare they revolt? They say that once the city gates are opened, there will be food. Nonsense. Tell the civilians that the Shang people are deceiving them. The civilians say, the Shang people might deceive them, but Chan San, who helps the people cross rivers, won't. Moreover, it's common knowledge that the Xuanjia army opens granaries for food wherever they go. It can't be fake. My lord, the civilians have gone mad. Everything's in chaos. All is chaos. Heading south all the way, Chan Sansi, in his white robes and atop his white horse, led the Xuanjia army in such a way that wherever they passed, they faced no resistance and cities surrendered. The dashing forces outside of various city walls immediately took control of the surrendered soldiers, and their path was unhindered. Only now, at this moment, Xia Tsong finally had an epiphany. I understand now what my lord did back in Meizi County. That's called building up strength. In fact, the defense forces of Lai state cities had already reached their limit. As long as they were convinced that there would be no repercussions for surrendering, they would completely collapse. One lead to surrender can start a domino effect. That's called being utterly disheartened, surrendering upon seeing the others. 20 days later, outside Yongla Prefecture City, dashing army camp. Why has there been no news of Chun Sansi for 20 consecutive days? Meng Qiuji, with his hands behind his back, paced back and forth inside the tent. General Fong, we really can't delay any longer. Should we retreat in advance? Report. They've surrendered. They've surrendered. The battle report from the Xuanjia army has arrived. All 23 prefectures have surrendered. 3,000 Xuanjia soldiers heading south. They will soon reach Jiaodong Prefecture. What did you say? Hand it over quickly. Meng Qiuji snatched it and scanned through it in an instant. On the 28th of January, 3,000 defenders from Shichao Prefecture left the city to surrender. On the first day of February, the Deputy General of Chongsua Prefecture committed treason, decapitated the main general, and led 2,000 defenders out of the city to surrender. On the 8th of February, the citizens of Huangpi Prefecture revolted, causing immense chaos within the city, ultimately resulting in their surrender. February. By the 19th of February, 26 prefectures within Lai State's borders had opened their city gates to surrender, capturing more than 50,000 enemy soldiers. My lord! Incredible, truly incredible. The news from our brothers at the front. Any place General Chen passes by either surrenders directly or collapses from internal strife. They've come all the way from Xinhua Prefecture heading south, and they haven't even killed a single person. Even if the enemy army has thousands of troops, they seem to be intentionally avoiding General Chen. The momentum to surrender began in the Northern Territory, as countless soldiers avoided the White Robe. Chapter 304, besieged on all sides. What did you say? General Fan snatched the letter, and as he read, his pupils visibly shook. Truly surrendered? They didn't even put up any resistance. None. The subordinate spoke firmly. The brothers at the front all saw it with their own eyes. The Xuanjia army only needed to stand outside the city gates with the general's banner for a while, and the city would open on its own. Good. Meng Qiuji was relieved that he had heeded advice and hadn't rashly ordered the troops to be called back. He looked toward the silent green-robed scholar at his side. General Fong, you must tell everyone. How did you do it? Fong Qingyun silently stared at the sand table, motionless like a rooted tree, for a long time. General Fong? Zhang Taoming cautiously interrupted. What is this? I got it. After a long while, Fong Qingyun suddenly spoke up, his voice clear and filled with surprise, akin to a seasoned mathematician finally solving a puzzle or a master craftsman discovering the method to unlock a complex contraption. I know how Vice General Chen did it. Oh, Meng Qiuji couldn't wait. Tell us. Let's hear it. Commander Meng. Fong Qingyun asked with a smile. I'm asking you, what is your path? My path? You mean my proficiency in military tactics, right? Meng Qiuji promptly replied. Then my path, naturally, is the path of invincibility. For all great military families, one must first ensure an invincible position for oneself to await the enemy's defeat. Fong Qingyun turned to the next person. And you, General Fan? Me, General Fan proudly claimed. What I believe in is the king's way, the way of the king being to follow the heavenly sun's mandate, to dispatch a righteous army. Wherever it goes, it is aided by heaven and is bound to be unstoppable, winning the hearts of the land. I'm not worthy to discuss paths. Zhang Taoming said candidly. I am a deputy under Commander Meng. If I had to speak of a path, my preference in everyday matters is the dominating path most favored by General Ji. Of course, compared to General Ji, I'm merely a poor imitation. Ming's state was just like this. Zhong Wuxin is a martial saint as well, and what became of him? His army of 80,000 under General Ji's pursuit ended up with only a little over 10,000 returning alive. I heard many were so frightened they were paralyzed with fear. Some even died on the spot from terror. General Ji is indeed a role model for our generation. The court had intended to arrange it this way. As the deputy general alongside Meng Qiuji, one steady and the other dominant, the goal was to create a complementary effect in critical moments, achieving unexpected results. To tell you the truth, our understanding of military tactics is not as profound as yours, General Fong. Meng Qiuji lamented, our respective paths, whether they be the king's way, the dominating way, or even the stable way, are all about finding the methods that suit us in the military books and then expanding on them. But you, General Fong, you are the founder of deceit, a true master of the path, and you will certainly be enshrined in the martial temple one day. Fong Qingyun did not show modesty or boastfulness, but at this moment, he changed his approach. Do you gentlemen know which path General Chen's military tactics follow? That. Meng Qiuji stroked his short beard and soon declared, Deceit. I think the same. Zhang Taoming agreed. Now it seems, without a doubt, that General Chen's path is deceit. Actually, I have carefully reviewed Vice General Chen's battle records. Back in Pyong, when a mere 1,000 remaining troops crushed a 20,000-strong barbarian army, He used strategies like feigning attacks and striking from unexpected angles, fitting with deceit. Yes, even General Fan agreed. The 4 crossings of Hongze River, moving around within the small territory of Ming State, and then, without running away, directly striking at Maishan Prefecture. Isn't it all just like what General Fong originally wrote? The military, too, is based on deceit? Truly worthy of being General Fong's junior, he might surpass you in deceit. Fong Qingyun just smiled and said nothing. Oh! Meng Qiuji became interested. General Fong, don't hold back. Is it another path? Perhaps benevolence, madness, or even the rare art of crossing? None of them. Fong Qingyun shook his head. You are misunderstanding. If you look at Vice General Chen's records, at first, there certainly are elements of deceit, but if you look further, you'll know it's not merely deceit. I don't know who he learned his military tactics from, but it definitely wasn't me. And now, at this point, no matter who he learned from before, or how many people he learned from, it has all merged thoroughly, transformed into his own path. His own path? Meng Qiuji discerned the underlying meaning. General Fong, are you suggesting? Exactly. Fong Qingyun waved his sleeve and announced loudly, Gentlemen, prepare yourselves. Before long, the 8 volumes of military will become the 9 volumes of military. A path that belongs solely to Vice General Chen. A path that has always been there, yet it is also a completely new path. This path's name is momentum. The military is about momentum. Chongqing Prefecture. General, all our brothers in the north have surrendered. There's no more food in the city. Let's surrender too. Surrender? We still have 4,000 brothers. And you tell me to surrender? General Chen is only giving us 3 hours to consider. It doesn't bother you, your camp soldiers transferred from elsewhere. Even if the city falls, you're just losing your own life. 18 years later, you'll be a man again. But we are the local garrison. Our wives and children are inside the city. If we continue to resist, once the city breaks, they will suffer the consequences. Chapter 305, Besieged on all sides too. Enough talk. If I tell you to hold your ground, then hold it. Hiss. You. General, you forced my hand. Commander Ma Guoqing plunged his sword into the other's chest, and several of his men surged forward, hacking the victim into mincemeat from behind. Then Ma Guoqing raised his long sword high. Open the city gates. Surrender. Boom. The stout gates of Chongqing Prefecture swung open. Officials of various ranks came out to surrender. General Chen, please have mercy on my men. We are all local garrison troops. After opening the city and surrendering, we will not go through Ghost Gate Canyon, and from now on we are subjects of the great Shang dynasty. The white horse in its white robe took up residence in Chongqing. Having journeyed far, the Xuanjia army needed a brief respite. The 27th prefecture. Xia Cong silently counted in his mind. On this journey, he and his comrades such as Xiao Zhang and Yu Jike watched wide-eyed as every place they passed surrendered at the mere sight of them, without expending a single soldier. From long-neglected small county towns to impregnable prefecture cities, all yielded without a fight. For the first time, they realized that conquering cities and seizing territories could be as effortless as reaching into a bag to retrieve an item. A rider in a white robe, atop a white horse. Countless troops, all surrendered. What awe-inspiring might! Xia Cong and his peers were carefully selected from the capital city, each deemed a genius in his own right, well-versed in military books from a young age. Therefore, they each had their own opinions when it came to warfare. From the start, they could not comprehend the significance of their general's actions. The reason they obeyed orders, on one hand, was due to their impeccable discipline. Different from the corrupt garrison soldiers, as an elite force, adhering strictly to military orders was a top priority. Even if they doubted the commands, they were to carry them out with exacting precision. On the other hand, General Chen's awe-inspiring 4 crossings of the Hongze River had captured their patience, prompting them to wait and see what the end would bring. And the result was just like this. Xia Cong and the others were utterly convinced almost ready to prostrate themselves like the surrendered enemy army. However, even though they had been close to the general all along, they still couldn't fully grasp the magic skill involved. In comparison, people like Lu Shuhua, who had personally experienced the shock of the 4 crossings of the Hongze River, were much less emotionally volatile, not because they weren't stunned, but because they were almost numb from the sheer awe. "Aren't they surrendering a bit too quickly?" Xie Sishu rode up to ask. "My lord, many places haven't left many to watch over the surrendered soldiers. Could this make our foundation unstable?" "Quick?" Chen Sansi asked in return. "Not at all quick. This was the normal course. First of all, not all soldiers had the sinking formation death will like his brothers from Payang. Most of them defended the cities simply because they had no escape. This was called the desperate resolve of city defenders. But once Dashing let the surrendered soldiers flaunt through the streets, this defending resolve would be immediately heavily fractured. Then, in every place they went, they opened the granaries to distribute food, earning the support of the civilians. Without the civilians' help, the difficulty of defending a city increased manifold. Not to mention, in some places, the civilians were starving due to excessive conscription of food for the war effort, and as soon as they heard Dashing soldiers were coming, they would revolt. Lastly, many city fortresses housed not only external camp soldiers but also many local garrison soldiers, and these two groups were not of one mind. For the external soldiers, losing the battle bore no consequence. They could even lay down their arms and return home for a festival as if they had never been there. For the local garrison soldiers, even if the city opened its gates, their families would remain unharmed. Why fight to the death if the outcome was the same either way? Sometimes when conflicts arose between the two, one side would foment internal strife. All these factors combined made surrender the only logical course. As for Xie Sishu's concern that surrendering too quickly might lead to instability, it was a groundless fear. Voluntary surrender and being besieged and forced to surrender were two different situations. After the city opened its gates, the defending troops were allowed to leave on their own. These array soldiers, being of low status and plentiful in number, would be exonerated by virtue of their sheer numbers even if they fled back into Qing country territory. They could not be held accountable. But what about the generals who ordered the gates to be opened? Dare they truly return? After going back, would Qing country dare to employ them again? Knowing that there was no future in returning, and perhaps facing retribution after the war, would these generals truly go back? They would not. Not only would they not go back, but they would also do their utmost to help Dashing secure control over the cities. It's a simple concept. One may explain away a single act of surrender as a reluctant necessity, but no one tolerates a general who betrays twice. Just like back in Ming State, Dong An's Deputy General Li Tiancheng and others were not overtly punished, but who now knew where they were or what their state was. Not to mention officials like County Magistrate Li from the lower ranks, they would be the most fanatical supporters of the great Shang dynasty. Let the entire army rest for the night. Chen Sansi gave the order. Upon entering the city, he rode around under the guise of inspection, his horse Chen soon taking him hither and yon. Eventually, in a Guanyin temple dedicated to child granting, he found several incense god sect adherents disguised as monks. That very night, he stealthily returned and silently slaughtered the cultists, then used the Xianzhu to extract the mystical energy from the incense in the incense burner. Each time he entered a city, he would conduct this search. The most abundant thing in Lai State was the child-granting Guanyin temples, where the incense burned particularly brightly, and the local people said they were highly effective. Women who were unable to conceive would often visit and soon find themselves pregnant. As for the reason, behind the statue of the Bodhisattva, there was a hidden path leading underground, where lay a bed, and every night beside that bed would gather 7 or 8 burly monks. The incense god sect truly had a plethora of sordid tricks. Chapter 306. Besieged on all sides _3. To deceive incense, Chen Sansi would use any scheme available. He found an abandoned house, where he first practiced his spear skills and then took out the Xianzhu to practice the sword chi skill. Magic, sword chi skill, proficient. Progress, 688/1000. Along the way, he had collected a lot of incense, but the rate of consumption was too high. It seemed he might need to collect incense from several small temples or perhaps from one large temple to achieve small achievement. Jiaodong Prefecture. It was the largest city in Lai State and housed the largest Guanyin temple. Previously, citizens from other prefectures and counties would even travel thousands of miles to worship there. This was a personal benefit. On a strategic level, Jiaodong Prefecture was also of utmost importance. Now in Lai State, out of the 36 prefectures, 27 had already surrendered. The remaining 9 were tough nuts to crack, with Jiaodong leading them, under the command of the well-known General Deng Feng. Capturing it would be difficult. However, on the other hand, if they could capture Deng Feng, it would be another significant blow to Qing country's morale, and the remaining 8 prefectures would crumble and immediately come out of their cities to surrender. After that, Dashing would have the opportunity to rally its forces for the upcoming battlefield situations. The situation still wasn't optimistic. Beyond that, there was one aspect of recruiting along the way that had surprised Chen Sansi. It was his name, unexpectedly effective. No one could have anticipated it. Initially, when he helped people cross the river, it had a significant impact. Of the 27 surrendered prefectures, at least 10 were due to rebellions within the cities which made them ungovernable. The name Chen Sansi played a role in at least 30% of these, representing a significant trend. The incense within the Xianzhu is pretty much consumed as much as it is obtained. But the white Xianqi is becoming denser. He looked at the Xianzhu in his hand and couldn't help but fall into deep thought. Starting from Meizi County, almost every place they went, the white Xianqi would increase slightly, essentially in pace with their advancement on the front lines. Could it be that the momentum of great victory could transform into Xianqi? Felt like it, yet it didn't. He always felt something was off. Chen Sansi couldn't afford to think deeply about it at the moment, as unknowingly, the day had already dawned, and they were about to set off again. This time, their destination was Jiaodong Prefecture. There wasn't much time left. The army from Green Ridge Mountain was almost there. They must make Jiaodong Prefecture surrender as quickly as possible. Even if it's a tough nut to crack, they had to bite it. Yongyu Prefecture. Damn it! King Tang Ligong, looking at the battle reports, flew into a rage and knocked over the roasted meat and other dishes on the table, exclaiming, "In just 30 days, 27 prefectures have surrendered. 50,000 surrendered soldiers. These 50,000, even if they just stretched out their necks for the Shang people to chop, it would still take 3 days and nights. And they just surrender without firing a single arrow. Is it so that wherever this Chun goes, doors open in welcome? Are you sure this is battle, not Chun inspecting his territory? Ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. Indeed ridiculous." The deputy general said with a worried look. Many city commanders not only surrendered themselves but also actively became envoys to persuade other cities' brothers to surrender, gradually making surrendering a broader trend that couldn't be stopped. Now, Chen Sansi leading the Xuanjia army is heading straight for Jiaodong Prefecture. As long as Jiaodong doesn't fall, there's still a chance for redemption. Li Gong quickly calmed down, pointing at the map with chopsticks. Including Jiaodong, the remaining 9 prefectures' commanders are either old acquaintances of Deng Feng or hold great reverence for him. As long as Deng Feng doesn't surrender, the others will definitely not yield. Then there's no problem. The deputy general assertively said, "The Deng family has been loyally valiant for 7 generations, and Deng was amongst the foremost contributors when Daqing was founded. Who else would surrender if General Deng wouldn't? I will send a letter to him right now, asking him to hold out for just another 20 days, merely 20 days. Quick, go," Li Gong urged. "Also, notify Ninsu to march towards Hulao Pass." "All right." The deputy general instructed someone to write the letter while expressing his concern. "Your Highness, weren't you worried before that Nansu might ask for too much? It seems now that losing some territory is inevitable." Li Gong scoffed. "But this loss cannot be on our side. As long as Jiaodong holds under a 3-sided attack, we might still crush Meng Qiuji's forces, And then not only will we reclaim the lost ground of Lai State, we will march into Shang country's territory in one fell swoop. Yes. Jiaodong Prefecture. Outside the city. Dashing army camp. 20 prefectures taken in 20 days. Chao Fan, after reading the battle report, couldn't hide the surprise and envy in his eyes. How did he do this? How can wars still be fought like this? First crossing the Hongze River 4 times, then thousands avoiding the white robes. Why can he always achieve strategic goals in ways that nobody expects? Young master, you need not worry. Cui Tsongyi analyzed calmly. The cities taken previously seemed frightening, but the main generals in each were hardly formidable. Their surrenders were normal. If you were in charge, surely you could do the same, perhaps even better. After all, you are a prince. Isn't your influence much greater than that of an assistant general? The upcoming battle at Jiaodong Prefecture is the real deal. An impenetrable fortress. This Deng Feng is as stubborn and tough as a rock in a dung pit. We have been sieging here for 2 whole months, offering every possible condition. He is just a profound image realm great perfection. We even promised him a marquis title, yet doesn't he remain unfazed? Such a person, would he surrender? You're right, General Cui. Chapter 307 surrounded on all sides _4. Sha Wenlong spoke with disdain. With only 20 days left, there's simply not enough time. Let's just wait for Chen Sansi to fail in completing the task set by the military decree, and then lose his head. That may be true, Chao Fan said softly. Taking Jiaotong Prefecture will certainly benefit both the great Qing dynasty and you and me. Cui Tsongyi praised. Young master is truly wise and virtuous. Galip glop, galip glop, galip glop. The sound of horse hooves arose. The Xuanjia army, flying the banner with the Qian character, appeared at the distant end of the horizon, bringing a cloud of dust along with them. They're here. Soon. A party stopped outside the great village. Although Chen Sansi was the nominal commander, Chao Fan was after all the prince, and his status was noble, but no one else came out to greet him. Instead, they all sat inside the central army tent, not even standing up to salute him when he entered. General Cui, General Sha? Xiaozong, holding a long spear, questioned. General Chen is the commander outside of Yongyu Prefecture. How can you be so disrespectful? A commander simply issues orders which we must follow. Sha Wenlong disdainfully said, he's just an assistant general. Does he really deserve our salute? You! Xiaozong wanted to retort, but he held his tongue at Chen Sansi's signal. Gentlemen, Chen Sansi asked calmly, what's the situation? We did as you said, but it was of no use. Cui Tsongyi stated, Vice General Chen, I must remind you, time is running out. The reinforcements from Qing country are getting closer to Green Ridge Mountain. If it really comes down to it, we should attack the city now. There might still be just enough time. General Cui, Chen Sansi ordered. You go personally to the city's outskirts to call for its surrender, this time with a tougher stance. Tell them that if they don't surrender within 15 days, we will no longer give them any more chances, and at that time we will call up a large army. 15 days? To give them that long? Cui Tsongyi asked puzzlingly. Vice General Chen, it will only take 20 more days for Qing country's reinforcements to arrive. If they refuse to surrender, are you planning on capturing the city in the last 5 days? Capture the city? Ah! Sha Wenlong scoffed. 5 days is hardly enough time to even retreat. Once Qing country's army pours in, we'll have no room to advance or retreat, and will face being attacked from both sides by an army of 200,000. Then, we can just wait for our forces to collapse like a mountain. General Sha, Chen Sansi said emotionlessly. Who did you say would collapse like a mountain? Heh, who else could it be? Sha Wenlong replied as if it was the most obvious thing in the world. Of course it's us. Kui Konji, SK Wenlong. Chen Sansi suddenly raised his voice, like a clap of thunder exploding on a clear day. His tone became exceedingly cold, and every word he uttered sounded like a razor-sharp blade of ice, piercing the eardrums of everyone present. clearly audible as it hit the ground. Considering that both of you are, after all, generals of the great Shang dynasty, and my seniors, I can overlook your disrespect. But if anyone dares to speak words such as collapse like a mountain, damaging our military might and shaking our military heart, I will exercise the right of the imperial authority and have both of your heads decapitated. You, what did you say? Sha Wenlong was furious. Isn't what I said the plain truth? It's impossible for Deng Feng to surrender, and you're going to waste another 15 days here. What will you do after that? Guards! Chun Sansi coldly ordered. Drag Sha Wenlong out and behead him. At your command. Zhao Kong and the others unsheathed their swords. This group of refining internal martial artists was unflinchingly surrounding the general from the profound image realm. Chun San, Vice General Chun. Sha Wenlong couldn't believe this youngster would really play for keeps, and he shouted loudly, "What right do you have to kill me? With the command token here, how can I not have the right?" Chun Sansi held up the command token high. Overwhelmed by the sudden turn of events, Sha Wenlong found himself at a loss for words. He instinctively reached for his sword but knew that the situation wasn't desperate yet, as he had neither defied orders outright nor committed a serious offense. In truth, his actions weren't punishable by death, and there was still a chance for him to explain himself. To resist now with a drawn sword would truly be a capital crime, so he forcibly suppressed his anger, allowing several mere refining internal to place their swords against his neck. General Chun. Chao Fan stepped forward, pleading, "General Sha has not defied orders, nor has he continued to speak the demoralizing, collapse like a mountain. Even if he was just talking back, it's certainly not a capital offense, right?" Indeed. Cui Tsongi maintained his expression, but the throbbing vein on his forehead revealed the fierce anger he was suppressing. General Chun, young master is right. General Sha was merely questioning, just questioning. Even with the authority of commander, don't we still have the right to offer counsel? If you really executed General Sha now, wouldn't you also be guilty of abusing your authority? Chun Sansi acted as though he heard nothing. General Chun. Chao Fan advanced a couple of steps. In front of the two armies, to behead one's own general first would only serve to further damage our own morale. Moreover, General Sha was indeed just offering counsel. General Sha, will you not kneel down and apologize to General Chun at once? Young master. Sha Wenlong's remaining eye widened. Chao Fan reminded, haven't you seen the command token in General Chen's hand? Even Meng Dashui wouldn't have anything to say if he killed you. My fault, General Chun. Ultimately, Sha Wenlong knelt on one knee with great difficulty. In extreme humiliation, his voice trembled uncontrollably. I promise I will never again speak recklessly or shake the military heart. Please grant me a chance to redeem my faults and atone for my merits. It's for the best. Chun Sansi signaled his men to sheath their swords, then led them out of the central army tent. Chapter 308, Besieged on All Sides 5. His purpose was to intimidate these few people, to avoid future disobedience and complications. As for capital punishment, it certainly wasn't yet warranted. Watching them walk away, Sha Wenlong remained seated for a long time. His left hand propped against the ground, swirled with gang qi, twisting into a depression in the yellow clay, his teeth nearly shattered from clenching. This is too much. I, Sha Wenlong, am after all a second-rank senior official, a regional military officer. How dare he humiliate me like this? What can we do when he holds the commander's token in his hand? Cui Tsongi felt the same humiliation. They had spent half their lives in military service and yet had to defer to a mere youth. Just endure it for now. 20 days will pass quickly. Once his term of military command ends, we can watch his head roll. You're right, Sha Wenlong said in a deep voice. I want to see how he is going to make Deng Feng surrender the city gates. Jiaodong Prefecture, within the city. Atop the city walls, numerous soldiers looked toward the distance as another group of surrendered soldiers was released, walking towards Daqing, their eyes filled with envy. At that moment, Dust filled the sky outside the city, accompanied by the thunderous sound of horse hooves, and a Chun character banner was particularly conspicuous in the gale. This is bad. This is bad. Chun Sansi is coming. Chun Sansi is coming. White robe, white horse, black armor. It's unmistaken. Do we surrender? You fools! Who dares to speak of surrender? Deng Feng rushed up the city walls, shouting at them furiously. Have you forgotten what I've told you? Reinforcements will arrive soon, and the siege of Jiaodong will be lifted without a fight. Why surrender simply because of one Meridian Passage Realm Assistant General, Chun Sansi? But General! Deputy General Song Hongbiao clenched his fists and said, We've just received the news. They've all surrendered. Who are they? Deng Feng furrowed his brows. Who has surrendered? 27 prefectures. Song Hongbiao said, starting from Jiaodong Prefecture, northward, every city, large and small, has surrendered. What? After reading the intelligence Deng Feng gathered from him and then closing his eyes, it was more a sense of frustrated helplessness than anger. A country raises its soldiers for 1,000 days to use them for one moment. My Daqing has treated these generals generously. How could they be so disloyal and unjust? Listen, people of the city. At the same time, Cui Tsongyi personally rode his horse to the front of the formation. His voice loud and clear, resounding through the skies. I am Admiral Cui Tsongyi. Hear me, city's Qing defenders. Now, inside Lai State's territory, hundreds of cities, big and small, have already surrendered to our great Shang dynasty, leaving only you stubborn holdouts resisting futilely. We no longer have the patience to continue this. I'm giving you one last chance. Surrender immediately, and as previously agreed, not a hair on your head will be harmed. But if you ignore this advice, prepare for a decisive battle in 15 days. Once the city falls, none will be spared. None will be spared. The loud calls of a martial artist within the profound image realm were clearly heard by everyone present. How did it come to this? Not long ago, Shang people were still trying to persuade them to surrender, appearing hesitant to fight, so why had they suddenly threatened to spare none? Could it be that Lai State was indeed lost? My lord! 27 prefectures have surrendered. Let's surrender too. Yes, General. All of you, shut up. Although Deng Feng raised his voice, he didn't lose his temper. Instead, he shouted, My fellow brothers, kinsmen, I just want to ask you all one question. What do you think of my character? This. General Deng is brave and unmatched, one of Daqing's very few fierce generals. Deng Qingtian. Do we even need to ask everyone? It was General Deng who opened the granary to distribute food to us common folks. Otherwise, we would have starved to death. Deng Feng asked, If that's the case, do you believe what I say? Then why don't you listen to me? But 27 prefectures have already surrendered. That means there are still 9 cities standing with us. Deng Feng shouted forcefully. These 9 great cities are Lai State's stronghold. They can't take them down. That's why they are intimidating us here. It's been another 20 days, with only the last 15 days remaining, and the Emperor himself will come to lead the charge. General, is that true? The final 15 days? Yes, the final 15 days. Deng Feng knew, in reality, reinforcements would need at least 20 days to reach Green Ridge Mountain. But under the enemy's intimidation, he had to bring the date forward, to quench thirst by thinking of plums, inspiring everyone to hold on a little longer. Just holding on for these 15 days would allow them to continue defending. After 15 days, if the Shang dynasty army truly launched an attack on Jiaodong City, the soldiers and civilians would naturally fight desperately to survive. If the army did not attack, they could truly wait for reinforcements. Hold on for just the last 15 days. All right, General. We believe in you. Brothers. Let's hold on together for 15 days. In half a month, we will all be promoted and get rich. Right, and us common folk will also get tax-free grain. With Deng Feng's passionate declaration, He was able to temporarily stabilize the military's morale. Jiaodong Prefecture once again fell into silence. In the blink of an eye, 3 days passed, and still no one opened the gates to surrender. On the 4th day, the people on the walls of Jiaodong Prefecture saw the Xuanjia army leaving. Where are they heading? Looking at the direction, they're planning to bypass Jiaodong Prefecture and attack other cities first. Do you think the other cities might have also surrendered? Chapter 309, Besieged on All Sides 6. If that's the case, then only our Jiaodong Prefecture will be left holding out in the entire Lai state. What a joke! Deng Feng kept vigil on the city walls day and night, ready to reassure his men in case of any situation. Well done! The generals in the other prefectures are all old friends of mine, brothers in life and death. As long as I don't surrender, they absolutely won't surrender either. Chun Sansi is out of options when it comes to us. He has no choice but to attack elsewhere, but this plays right into my hands. With so little time left, which city do you think they can take down? The time wasted coming and going is enough for His Majesty's forces to arrive. If that's really the case, nothing could be better. Then we'll trust in General's words and wait a bit longer. Yongyu Prefecture. 7 days have passed. Deng Feng indeed did not disappoint me. King Tang Ligong heaved a sigh of relief. Time was on their side. The reinforcements were about to arrive. Outside the city, the Shang army camp. It's been 7 days, and Jiaodong Prefecture has still not surrendered. Meng Qiuji was anxious in his heart, but no longer as restless as before. He patiently asked, General Feng, that so-called trend of events you spoke of doesn't seem capable of swallowing Jiaodong Prefecture. Deng Feng commands immense respect, and under such circumstances, he's still able to stabilize the troops. What should we do now? There are only the last dozen or so days left. We will ultimately run out of time. He had never felt such trepidation in battle in his life. If faced with this situation in the past, he would have already retreated. As long as the retreat was fast enough, one would never be defeated. Wait a bit longer. After understanding Chun Sansi's strategy this time, Fang Qingyun remained eerily calm. Even playing the flute leisurely, his demeanor completely self-assured. Seeing him like this, plus the lesson from the last time. Not just Meng Qiuji but also Fan Tianfa and Zhang Taoming, out of caution, left the main camp to prepare for the retreat, but did not mention giving up just yet. Then they would wait another while. The 3,000 Xuanjia army, after bypassing Jiaodong Prefecture, continued to head south. Having completed the first 4 steps, my lord, should we proceed to the 5th step now? Xia Zong followed, saying, This time, are we going to persuade the other cities to surrender first, making Jiaodong Prefecture an isolated city before pressuring them to surrender? A brilliant strategy. Chun Sansi pointed with his long spear towards Luoying Prefecture at the edge of their vision. You go, persuade them to surrender. Me? Yes. Xia Zong did not hesitate, immediately leading people straight towards the city gate. But he quickly returned, his face looking ugly. My lord, the people of Luoying Prefecture are not like the ones we encountered before. They refuse to surrender. My lord, Xiao Zheng added, would you like to try yourself? After all, the cities that surrendered before did so because of your reputation. Maybe it's just that we subordinates are ineffective. No need. Move on to the next prefecture. Chun Sansi did not give them time to respond and spurred his horse forward. Ah? Xia Zong and the others hurried to catch up. Liani Prefecture will not surrender. Wuyuan Prefecture will not surrender. Lu Yuan Prefecture too will not surrender. My lord, are you really not going to persuade them yourself? These people are all fiercely loyal to Deng Feng, unwilling to surrender. Moreover, with us going to and fro, by the time we return to Jiaodong Prefecture, it will already be the 13th day.
Xia Kong in quit an siêu ly.
But now their questioning was no longer out of doubt, but purely out of a desire to learn, to understand. Is that so? Chun Sansi pondered. Haven't they already surrendered? This Xiaozong had a moment of realization. Brilliant, my lord, I understand. We claim they have surrendered, and regardless of whether they have or not, in the eyes of the Jiaotong city garrison, these cities have surrendered. With only the last 2 days left until the scheduled date of attack, they simply have no time to verify. And with the 27 prefectures that previously surrendered, they will believe that under the weight of the situation, the 8 prefectures have also surrendered. They're left as the only isolated city.
Xia Kong.
At your service. You are to immediately go to the cities where the surrendered soldiers are detained and send all the remaining 2,000 surrendered soldiers to the outskirts of Jiaotong City, spreading them out in various directions around the city gates. Xiaozong, who had just felt clarity for a few moments, was once again unable to follow the train of thought. Is this preparation for them to persuade their own to surrender, or for a siege attack? He felt dim-witted and ashamed to ask further. Understood. He executed the orders without delay. Leishan Prefecture. After the initial great battle, this place became the detention center for the surrendered soldiers. More than 20,000 soldiers from Qing country, who initially thought their fate would be tragic, were soon released by dashing, allowed to go home, and even provided with rations. Over a month, of the more than 20,000 people, only 2,000 remained. These 2,000 were constantly anxious and restless. Because they were specially isolated while others were released and went their ways, they alone were detained from the beginning to the end. Moreover, they heard that all of Lai State had surrendered, leaving only them behind. How could this be? My lord, why won't you release us? Could it be that we are unlucky to be kept for slaughter? My lord, please spare us. They knelt down one by one on the ground. Shut up. Zhu Qi, in charge of the detention here, reprimanded. Your lives are not for you to decide. If Dashing says you die, you die. If you're told to live, you live. General Zhu. Xiaozong arrived. General Chun commands. Escort these men quickly to the outskirts of Jiaotong City. Jiaotong. The surrendered soldiers were shocked. Is this to have us lead the assault? Chapter 310. Besieged on all sides _7. In the end, there's no escape from death, is there? How cruel. So very cruel. Enough talk. Zhu Qi immediately set out, escorting them as they departed. The 14th day. On this day, the Qing country's grand army pressed towards Green Ridge Mountain. Just another 3 to 5 days' march, and they would enter the territory of Lai State. Outside Yongyu Prefecture, Meng Qiuji had already made preparations to retreat. Outside Jiaotong Prefecture, in the camp of the dashing army, Sha Wanlong and the others were mixed with worry and secret joy. The worry was that they were anxious about the direction of the situation to come. The secret joy was because someone had issued a military order. 10 days before, after Chun Sansi failed to persuade Jiaotong Prefecture to surrender, he led his men further south. It was only recently that they had returned. As a result, according to reliable intelligence, they hadn't taken a single city. That is to say, they had done nothing but run south and then back again, wastefully spending more than 10 days' time, and tomorrow would make the 15th day. That was the day previously agreed upon to let Jiaotong Prefecture open its gates. After tonight, if Jiaotong Prefecture still didn't surrender, besieging it would be impossible. They would have to withdraw quickly. That is to say, Chun Sansi had failed to fulfill the military order. All his previous arrogance was about to meet its final reckoning. Jiaotong Prefecture. Atop the city walls, the soldiers and citizens of Qing country watched with their own eyes as the Xuanjia army returned. Following that came the news brought back by the scouts. Things have gone terribly wrong. Outside the city, word is spreading like wildfire among the Shang army troops, and the other 8 prefectures have surrendered, too. Just like before with the 27 states, did every place Chun Sansi visited see the main generals open their gates to surrender voluntarily, without firing a single arrow? What really? Didn't General Deng say that the other 8 prefectures wouldn't surrender? Sure, keep it down. Have you forgotten that before those 27 states surrendered, General Deng also said they wouldn't either? What happened then? You mean the general has been deceiving us all along, just wanting us to hold out? What else? Then what are we supposed to do? Actually, it's completely unnecessary. Just open the gates and surrender. Why stubbornly hold out? Those from the other prefectures who surrendered are probably already home. What did you say? You've got some nerve, spreading rumors, disrupting our army's morale. Die. Deng Feng climbed up on the city wall and happened to hear what one of the soldiers said privately. He was thunderously furious, and with one swift motion, decapitated him right in front of everyone, the blood spraying from the severed neck, bringing a warm touch as it spattered on those nearby. He picked up the head. Listen well, all of you. The news from outside must be false. Your general will not surrender. It's simply impossible for the 8 prefectures to surrender. Anyone else who dares to disrupt our morale will meet the same fate. This. The crowd recoiled in horror, no one daring to discuss it any further. But Deng Feng knew that having to resort to killing for stability hinted they were at their limit. Fortunately, just a bit longer. This tension just needed to last through one more night. Early tomorrow morning. This was when Dashing claimed the time to attack the city. As long as they launched an attack on the city, and both sides became desperate in battle, they could keep defending. After 5 days, the army would arrive. Outside the city, in the central tent of Dashing's Huben army. A few more hours and it will be dawn. If the people of Jiaodong Prefecture haven't opened their gates to surrender by then, it means General Chen's military order cannot be fulfilled. When the time comes, I'll personally capture him and bring him before Meng Dashuai. I'd like to see how Fang Qingyun can save him then. Where is Chun Sansi? He better not be hiding. Sha Wenlong squinted his single eye, continuously stroking the edge of his broadsword, imagining himself forcing General Chun to kneel and admit his wrongs. Replying to General Sha, Chun Sansi is in the tent at the East City Gate. What is he doing? Don't know, he seems to be doing nothing. However, I saw that the Xuanjia army seems to have brought in many surrendered soldiers. Surrendered soldiers? Cui Tsongyi raised his eyebrows. What is he bringing surrendered soldiers for? Don't know. The people from the Xuanjia army didn't reveal anything. Report. Another soldier rushed into the tent and knelt down to report. General Chun has an order. He commands us to abandon the strategy, surround 3 gates and leave one by 5 a.m. Completely lock down Jiaodong Prefecture. Sound all the war drums. Deploy troops on all 4 sides of the city, and prepare all the siege equipment. Good. Sha Wenlong couldn't help but laugh coldly. I get it. He's using the surrendered soldiers to force them to serve as shields and storm in first, then we attack the city. It seems he has finally come to realize that the people inside won't surrender, so we must attack. Too late, though. Now it's all too late. As soon as blood is shed, it will provoke a desperate resistance from the people inside, and it's absolutely impossible to conquer it in 5 days. Qing country's reinforcements are almost here. He's making a fatal blunder in wartime. General Cui, send a message quickly. We are close to Yongyu Prefecture, and by dawn Hai Dongxing will have flown back. Let's have Meng Dashuai stop this fool. Attacking now is a suicide mission. Withdraw his false commission. Let's capture him and bring him back for trial. Yes. Xuanjia army. Under immense tension, Chun Sansi was practicing his spear technique in front of the tent. He stopped only when Xia Tsong hurriedly came to report, leisurely accepting the coarse cloth that Zhao Kong handed him to wipe his sweat. Is everything arranged? Sir. Xia Tsong bowed and said, 2,000 surrendered soldiers are all positioned, spread across the 4 city gates to the northeast, southwest, and northwest. The other units are also ready and will prepare to attack the city as soon as it gets light. So, sir, for this 5th step, are we still attacking the city? Lu Shuhua, Xiao Zheng, and others all cast puzzled looks. In their view, attacking now seemed impossible to complete in time. But since the Sir insisted on it, it meant he definitely could capture it in an exceedingly short time. However, the method remained beyond their imagination. The answer they received, though, was completely contrary to their guesses. No attack on the city. Not attack? Then are we still going to persuade them to surrender? But sir, we've brought in surrendered soldiers to serve as shields and ordered other units to prepare siege equipment. If it's not for attacking, is it just for intimidation? You have been asking me what the fifth step of taking over Lai State is. Chun Sansi's palm hovered over the sand table, directly above Jiaodong Prefecture City. Under the flickering candlelight, shadows enveloped the entire city. He spoke slowly, his words firm. The fifth step, songs of celebration from all sides. Celebration songs? Are you referring to the folk songs of Qing country? Xia Tsong and the others were almost completely flustered. Sir, what is this plan? Relay my command. After midnight, have the 2,000 surrendered soldiers sing mountain songs. When the celebration songs start, and with the dawn in the east, that will be the moment when Lai State City falls. Bang! Chan Sansi's palm, like Five-Finger Mountain, heavily fell, crushing the sand table depiction of Jiaodong Prefecture City into powder. The fifth step, songs of sadness from all sides, arrows of heart attack, arrows to open the city gates and secure Lai State. Chapter 311. Subduing Dengfeng, stabilizing Lai State. The sun set and night fell. Within the walls of Jiaotong Prefecture City, there was a deathly silence. Thousands of soldiers and hundreds of thousands of civilians were all crowded near the city gates, on the walls, in the streets, and in front of their homes. It looked as if refugees gathered together during years of famine. No one dared return to their houses to rest, for no one knew whether the enemy army would start the attack ahead of schedule. Tensions stretched to the limit. Only 6 hours left. Only 6 hours remained till the deadline given by the Shang people. Report. General, something's wrong. It's sealed off. The enemy army outside the city is no longer encircling 3 sides and leaving one open. Our scouts absolutely can't get out anymore. The enemy army is also preparing all kinds of large siege engines. It looks like they're really planning to attack the city after daybreak. What's there to panic about? Deng Feng's thunderous voice echoed in the darkness. Let them attack. Can they really breach our defenses? A few subordinates asked. General, but didn't you say that our reinforcements would arrive the day after tomorrow, which is at daybreak tomorrow? Yes, that's correct. Deng Feng had no choice but to give an affirmative response. After daybreak, the reinforcements will arrive. By then, His Majesty's army of 70,000, along with the elite 50,000 from Yongyu Prefecture, a total of 120,000 troops, will make the Shang army fall like dominoes. Tonight is the darkest hour before the dawn. In a word, stall. He'd spent most of his life guarding the frontier. Never before had he experienced such immense pressure like he did today. And all this pressure came from a young man, Chan Sansi. This person. In just a single month, he had managed to take over almost all of Lai State. Where the white robe rides, armies retreat. What a tactic. The most crucial part was, according to the intelligence he received, the majority of cities had surrendered voluntarily. Even if the garrison was unwilling, the common people within were more than willing. Some even revolted because wherever the Xuanjia army went, they killed corrupt officials, opened the granaries, and committed no transgressions against the people. To put it bluntly, the Xuanjia army treated the citizens better than the Qing country citizens treated their own compatriots. Deng Feng had long heard of this man's deed of leading civilians across the river, and had always been skeptical deep down. If it was true, it was indeed admirable, but after all, it was the Emperor Dashing who personally announced it to the world, and there was a very strong suspicion of making a show of it. But now it seemed to be true. A person who wins over the populace to the extent that they'd rather risk dying under the garrison's blades than not pledge allegiance is surely sincere toward the populace, or even if it was an act, he must keep up the pretense indefinitely. From this perspective, it would be a great fortune for the Qing country and a blessing for the people to have such a general in the world, or if Qing country had such a general. Unfortunately, he was the enemy, a powerful and promising enemy. Still, they could win. Just hold out until dawn. Once the battle begins, and blood is seen, the dynamics of attack and defense will change. If they could capture Chun Sansi alive and turn him to the Qing countryside, that would be the best outcome. Deng Feng continued to suppress the army's unease. The 8 prefectures haven't really surrendered. It's just a show of strength. They are still standing with us. Their aim is to disrupt our formation. Don't believe a single word those Shang people say. With earnest persuasion, the unrest within the city was quelled once more with difficulty. The reinforcements. The subordinates and civilians were unaware, but as the Deputy General Song Hongbiao knew all too well, the reinforcements would definitely not arrive tomorrow. As to whether they could really arrive after 5 days, who could say? Perhaps King Tang Ligong, like Deng Feng, had deliberately brought forward the arrival date of the reinforcements to deceive those defending the city. Yongyu Prefecture. Good. King Tang Ligong breathed a sigh of relief upon learning that Jiaotong Prefecture City had yet to fall. The final 5 days. The Shang people can no longer take Jiaotong Prefecture. Recovering the entirety of Lai State, and then casting eyes upon the central plains of Shang Dynasty, is just within reach. General Deng is truly the backbone of Daqing. The assistant general praised. Prince, the situation is stable. Yes. King Tang Ligong raised his hand to give orders. Inform all the troops in the city, especially the cavalry, to be fully equipped and on standby day and night. Knowing Meng Qiuji as I do, he will surely withdraw his forces within 3 days. When the enemy army outside the city starts to retreat, that will be the day we launch our counterattack. Yes. Outside the city, dashing army camp. Nan Su's army of 100,000 is pressing down on Hulaguan. Deng Feng in Jiaotong Prefecture City still hasn't surrendered. And now we really have no time left. Meng Qiuji sighed as he passed the intelligence report to others. General Feng, we really have to retreat. If we don't retreat now, it will be too late. He had never tasted defeat in his life. Holding out any longer would raise the risk of collapse to over 60%. A risk he was definitely not willing to take. Wait a little longer. Fang Qingyun still stuck to the same argument. Vice General Chun has made it very clear. He ordered Jiaotong Prefecture City to surrender within 15 days. 1 night shy, even 1 hour shy, doesn't make 15 days, so why not wait until after dawn to discuss it further? Zhang Taoming followed up with persuasion. Commander, considering how things stand, might as well wait a bit longer. Yongyu Prefecture is very close to Jiaotong Prefecture, and communication takes about 6 hours. So we wait until dusk tomorrow. That's the final deadline. Meng Qiuji felt like he was taking the biggest gamble of his life. Also, I agree with Sha Wenlong and Cui Tsongyi's suggestion that if there is still no surrender from Jiaotong Prefecture City after daybreak, then at that time we revoke Chun Sansi's temporary authority of the Imperial Seal. He absolutely must not be allowed to attack the city. There's no time left. Then, order Sha Wenlong and others to bring him back for disposition, and my army will immediately retreat, return to dashing, and garrison the border, responding to movements by standing still. Chapter 312. Conquering Deng Feng, Stabilizing Lai State _2. In his view, it was impossible for Chun Sansi to complete the military order. However, this matter couldn't be blamed on Chun Sansi. The fact that 27 prefectures had already surrendered was shocking and unprecedented, so it was normal that Jiaotong Prefecture was not taken. But there are no jokes in the military. He must be brought back first, and then they would see how to deal with him. Outside the military camp of the Shang army near Jiaotong Prefecture City, the commander agreed. Sha Wenlong stood up and ordered, assistant generals from the front, back, left, and right divisions, listen to my command. Keep an eye on Chun Sansi. After dawn, capture him immediately, and then we retreat at full speed. Yes. A few assistant generals took their orders and left.
No.
Sending him back. He will definitely not die. Cui Tsongyi said, you see what Commander Meng means? He clearly thinks it's not his fault. I guess at most he might escape the death penalty but not a living one. It's just earning merits to offset his crimes, which is useless. We still have to send him back first. Sha Wenlong snorted coldly. It would be best if he disobeys orders and continues to forcefully attack the city. Then you and I will have a good reason to take his life. In the Xuanjia army's main tent.
Cultivation technique, National Gardien Dragon Spear, Méridien Passage, Expert.
Progress. 155/1000. As the final hour approached, Chun Sansi was still practicing his spear techniques calmly. My lord! Xiaozong approached and whispered, Sha Wenlong and his assistant generals have come near our camp. Not sure what they are doing. Ignore them. Chun Sansi said indifferently, stick to the original plan. Let Cui Tsongi, Sha Wenlong, and the others do whatever they're supposed to do. Before dawn, if they neglect their duties, I can still chop off their heads. Yes. Xiaozong left. My lord, Zhao Kong said quietly, taking advantage of the absence of others. This Sha Wenlong truly deserves to die. Ever since that time at the Yuyang sect, he hasn't supported us, and he has been targeting us in Ming State too. If not for your subordinates' incompetence, I would have gone and chopped off his head by now. You go attend to your duties as well. Chun Sansi didn't respond to that. Pei Tianan is still here. 2 people from the Incense Fire Divine sect are also here. On the surface, they are 2 mystical phenomenon generals, but secretly, there is also a martial saint, plus 2 followers of the Incense Fire Divine Tao. They are guarding here, probably also harboring some intentions. Inside Lai State City, there's a large temple too, but if it was just about collecting incense offerings, there wouldn't need to be so many people staying here. However, they always have times when they separate. Lai Zi, there will eventually be a chance to make a move. My lord. Lu Shuhua hurried over. It's about time. Kong. Chun Sansi stopped his actions and used the gun, but to drive his long spear into the clay ground. Let's begin. Inside the city. At midnight, deep into the night. The defenders of Qing country trapped in the city for nearly 3 months were gradually unable to withstand the exhaustion. But their bodies were still tense, at most maintaining a state of half-sleep and half-alertness, with no one truly able to sleep. Gurgle. The sounds of growling stomachs continuously rose, everyone listlessly waiting for today's food distribution. General, about the provisions. Gone. Song Hongbiao said, even if we reduce rations, it's only enough for the last 2 days. Should we stop the civilians' food distribution first and take care of our brothers? As Zhaotong Prefecture is the 2nd largest granary in Lai State, the provisions were indeed sufficient, but the city had too many civilians, over 100,000, and the daily consumption amount was enormous. Yet, they still needed everyone to defend the city, and even after reducing the daily rations, the granary was gradually running out. Don't spread panic. Deng Feng made a swift decision while sitting cross-legged on the ground. Do not reduce the rations. Take out all the food and let everyone have enough. If we get through tonight, everything will be fine. After that, even if they were hungry, they could endure for a few more days until reinforcements arrived. Yes, I understand. Song Hongbiao took his orders and left. Soon, buckets of steamed millet rice began to be distributed in order. Mealtime. It's not thin porridge today. The general also slaughtered a horse. There's a large piece of meat in everyone's bowl. General Deng truly is a benevolent and righteous leader. Yes, but I heard that Chun Sansi does the same. Really? Yes, it's said that if there isn't enough food in the city, he would even divert food from the Shang army's supplies to the civilians, and many places facing famine were revived. Ah! 2 good people, why must they fight to the death? Exactly. Forget it, reinforcements will arrive early tomorrow. We'll surely be rescued. Just hang on a little longer. Right. Just a bit longer, General Deng has been good to us. Sleep now, we'll be saved when we wake up. The people and soldiers, full and satisfied, finally could no longer suppress their drowsiness and snuggled together to gradually fall asleep, leaving only a few to continue patrolling, responsible for keeping watch. In their dreams, it seemed they had awaited reinforcements and won the battle, The soldiers returned to their hometowns, the locals living as they had before, and in a few days it was the Daqing Festival of Songs, when every household would gather together and sing their songs. Kaiwei, Kaiwei, the herbs also come to an end. It says come back. Come back. The years also do not stop. Without a room, without a home, because of the enemies. Unable to settle down, because of the enemies. At that moment, it seemed as if they had returned to their hometown, or as if they were returning to a daily life of rising with the sun and resting at sunset, living a poor life but at least accompanied by family. Wait, it seemed like someone was really singing. Who is chanting? It seems to be from outside the city. Many people are singing. It sounds like thousands. Chapter 313. Conquering Dengfeng. Stabilizing Lai State _3. In the rustling of movement, tens of thousands of men awoke one after another. No leisure has the king for idle dealing. His sorrow-laden soul will find no healing. Though I wish to follow, I can march not thither. The singing was not loud, but it penetrated in all directions, enveloping the entire Jiaotong prefecture city, hesitant and indistinct, reverberating in the minds of every citizen and soldier, its lingering melody sinking deep into their hearts. This song was known as Kai Wei, which happened to be a tune widely popular within Qing country. Moreover, its content perfectly expressed the homesickness of soldiers heading to war, matching perfectly with the current scene and emotion, as if it were made by heaven and earth. Added to that was the powerful emotional resonance of the lyrics, sung in the pure local dialect of Qing country's mountains, which gradually led the city's inhabitants to hum along, unable to help themselves. Once I traveled away, willow trees were swaying. Now I return in thought, amidst the rain and snowflakes flurrying. The song grew louder and louder, until at last tens of thousands joined in chorus, their voices piercing the night sky, echoing through the entire Jiaotong prefecture city. Beneath the city walls, inside the tents, Deng Feng, who had been resting with closed eyes, suddenly opened them, his expression more serious than ever before. This is bad. Outside the city, Shang army camp. What's that noise? Sha Wenlong, who had been waiting for daybreak to demand justice, was napping inside his large tent when he was startled awake by the earth-shattering singing. At first, he thought they were under attack. Only after listening carefully did he realize that someone was singing. Not just him. Cui Tsongi and Chao Fan also came over upon hearing it. General, it's the surrendered soldiers. The surrendered soldiers from Qing country. Didn't General Chun bring over more than 2,000 of those surrendered soldiers earlier? They are the ones singing now. Surrendered soldiers? They were not needed to be used as human shields. Now they are called over to sing. Cui Tsongi followed the sound to the area where the surrendered soldiers were gathered. He saw that these soldiers from Qing country were singing with more passion than one another, emotionally invested, and some were even singing while crying. Cui Tsongi, as if grabbing a small chicken, seized a frail surrendered soldier and asked, "What are you singing?" General Chun said, "As long as we sing with all our might until dawn, he will let us go home." The soldier said with a sobbing voice, "We want to go home." They were singing from their lungs. After all, out of 20,000 surrendered soldiers, barely 2,000 who were unable to leave longed to go home with an unstoppable eagerness. Child's play. Sha Wenlong simply could not comprehend the intention behind such an arrangement. He sneered, "General Cui, Chun is like a cornered dog jumping over the wall, resorting to such childishly playful tactics. I think he's really out of options." Indeed, Cui Tsongi's lips curled, at his wit's end. Can he really hope by singing they'll open the city gates? Let them sing, let them sing. Sha Wenlong snorted coldly. Let them sing until dawn. It will be a fitting send-off for Chun. Chao Fan remained silent, sensing a disturbance in his mind. Jiaotong prefecture city. Within the city. Enough! Deng Feng dashed out of his tent with a burning urgency, his chi blood fully activated, his voice like a great bell from the heavens forcibly drowning out the singing. "What are you singing for? Stop singing." Even so, It still took a good while, a span of a tea time with everyone grown tired of the singing, for it to gradually come to a halt. Reinforcements. Have the reinforcements arrived? Yes. They're all speaking in the authentic Qing country dialect. It must be our own people. They're our own people from all sides. They have come. They have come. Let's go have a look. What are you doing? Stop. But no one could be stopped. Tens of thousands of citizens surged up the walls from all sides, cramming to look outside, only to be greatly disappointed soon. For where were the reinforcements? Every direction, northeast, southwest, showed the well-entrenched camps of the dashing army, where soldiers dressed in exquisite armor patrolled in an orderly fashion with torches, and nothing had changed at all. As for the singing, it was coming from inside the dashing camp. Because of the distance and the fact that it was nighttime, they couldn't see clearly how many people there were, only that there seemed to be singers in almost every camp, meaning their own Qing country people were helping the Shang people encircle them. Where did all these fellow brothers come from?
No mistake.
Their voices, their singing style, are 100% our countrymen. Even if one or two could imitate the singing, it's absolutely impossible for there to be so many. 5,000. No, at least 10, 20,000. 50,000. Where did so many people come from? Weren't all the surrendered soldiers released? The Xuanjia army just returned yesterday. The people were brought back by them from the 8 prefectures. New surrendered soldiers. That is to say, the 8 prefectures have really surrendered. Nonsense. It's impossible for the 8 prefectures to have surrendered. Deng Feng rushed to the city wall. Fake. It's all a sham. At this moment, in the darkness of the night, escorted by 2 torches, a general clad in white rode up on a white horse, stopping 300 steps from the city gate. Who is this person? White horse, white robe, it's Chun Sansi. Who else could it be? Quickly come and look. That's Chun Sansi. He has shown himself. Chun Sansi cupped his fists and, with a salute, addressed Deng Feng high on the city wall. General Huayuan, Chun Sansi, pays respect to General Deng from here. Chun Sansi. Deng Feng, unable to contain his anger, pointed at him and scolded. What kind of ghostly tricks are you playing? Do you think a mere folk song can shake the morale of our troops? General Deng misunderstands Chun. Chun Sansi said politely, I, your junior, am here to rescue General Deng and the tens of thousands of citizens of this city. Absurd. Deng Feng coldly said, I still have 8,000 elite soldiers, ample food and supplies within the city, and reinforcements are about to arrive. Do I look like I need your rescue? Chapter 314. Conquering Deng Feng, Stabilizing Lai State _4. Is the supply of provisions really sufficient? Seated on horseback, Chun Sansi's facial features show no obvious fluctuations, but his voice rings out clear and strong. Chun has traveled all the way here and seen that most parts of Lai State are suffering from famine. Ever since the war started last November, there have been continuous campaigns, and all the food and fodder for each city have been conscripted from the people, leaving them in unspeakable misery. Zhaotong Prefecture, as the second largest granary in Lai State, indeed should have ample provisions, enough to feed 8,000 troops for a year and a half without an issue. Yet, General Deng happens to be someone who loves his people as his own children, so the general would surely distribute the city's grains amongst the citizens. Hundreds of thousands of citizens, even the provisions of Zhaotong wouldn't be enough, right? Nonsense. Don't flatter me with your lies. Deng Feng retorts. The provisions within the city are plentiful. The brothers in the city just had their full meal. Chun, don't you go spreading wild rumors here. The matter of provisions can easily be confirmed with a single glance at the granaries. Even if there's some left, I'm afraid it's not much. Even if General Deng wants to deceive himself and others, we can set aside the matter of provisions for now and talk about military strength. Chun Sansi continues. Now, not only have all the 8 prefectures pledged allegiance, but just 2 hours ago, Yongla Prefecture was also breached, and King Tang Ligong's head now hangs on the walls of Yongla Prefecture City. That is to say, your Xiaodong has become a completely isolated city. Those singing in the camp are soldiers from Qing country who surrendered from the 8 prefectures and Yongla Prefecture. They do not wish to slaughter their own brothers, so they plead through song. Do you really want to fight and kill each other? Amongst you, some not only know each other but might also be hometown folk. Upon these words, a panic immediately ensues among the crowd. We're out of food? The city's granaries are empty? No wonder we suddenly had better food last night. This must be the last decent meal they planned for us. Yongla Prefecture has fallen too? Even King Tang is dead. Doesn't that mean in Lai State only we are left? 150,000 strong army is about to turn their weapons on us. Chen Sansi adds again, General Deng, everything I've said you should be well aware of. But why do you still deceive your brothers and citizens in the city? Would you rather wait until Dashing musters even more forces and siege until the city falls and is filled with corpses before you bow your head? Well aware? What am I supposed to be well aware of? Unable to maintain his composure, Deng Feng shouts, Don't listen to his drivel. I don't know any of these things, no. I mean, there's not a truthful word in his mouth. General Deng. Chen Sansi raises his voice. I too am aware of General Deng's loyalty, but surely you can't let your loyalty drag the entire city down with you into a joint burial. I've just received a military order. Meng Dashui has commanded me to attack at dawn. Therefore, you don't have much time left to consider. My piece is said. I also hope that the brothers and countrymen in the city could persuade General Deng. I take my leave. With that, he turns his horse and disappears back into the great village of the military camp. Above the city walls, the people and soldiers are in an uproar. General, we can't see things like the 8 prefectures. But what about the granaries? The crowd asks. Are they really empty? Can we go have a look at the granaries? Empty. The granaries are truly empty. Someone who enjoys stirring trouble, having sneaked off upon hearing this conversation, now rushes back to loudly announce. Before, the granaries were just off-limits for stealing, but you could still go there. Now, there are so many soldiers guarding the granaries that they don't even let you take a look. Isn't this evidence enough? The granaries, they're empty. Deng Feng is forced to admit. But so what if they're empty? Aside from the granaries, everything else he said is false. Where those outside singing celebration songs came from, I do not know, but I would stake my life to swear that the 8 prefectures have definitely not surrendered. If you really don't believe it, you can try to break out to check the situation. General, it takes 2 days to go to the nearest city and come back. But, didn't you say that reinforcements would arrive tomorrow morning? Even if the 8 prefectures really have surrendered, is there a need to verify it anymore? After all, the reinforcements will arrive after dawn. Are you deceiving us? Boom! Seizing on the inconsistency in Deng Feng's words, the crowd presses him relentlessly with questions. Deng Feng finds himself at a loss for words, unsure of how to respond. He curses Chen Sansi in his heart, labeling him a despicable and vile villain. First, he used the surrendered soldiers' celebratory songs to shake the troops' morale, then pushed all the blame onto him, stirring up discontent among his subordinates and citizens, leading to an indefensible predicament. I only meant to prove to you that the 8 prefectures have not surrendered. I didn't say the reinforcements wouldn't come back. Deng Feng, though reluctant, says, tomorrow morning, the reinforcements will arrive on time. In that case, we will trust the general one more time. Brothers, let's hold out until tomorrow morning. The crowd gradually disperses, but the unrest never subsides. Deputy General Song Hongbiao expresses his concern. General, you already know that reinforcements won't come by dawn, so why say that? After dawn, once the battle starts, there will be no more chances to surrender, and everyone, soldiers and citizens alike, must resist to the death. Deng Feng says, so, We just need to hold out until dawn. He has no other choice. Now if he admits it, chaos would instantly break out within the city. Chapter 315. Conquering Dengfeng, Stabilizing Lai State _5. General. Song Hongbiao frowned, his voice hesitant as he spoke. But if that were the case, wouldn't it mean that the brothers inside the city would have no way out? What do you mean? Dengfeng sensed something was off. You're not thinking of surrendering, are you? Haven't I told you that in about 5 days, His Majesty will lead a large army to our rescue? Really? Song Hongbiao mustered his courage and said, General, just tell us the truth. Will the reinforcements truly arrive in 5 days? In his eyes, with the 8 prefectures already surrendered and the situation with the supplies being kept secret, under these circumstances, could the reinforcements also be false? After all, these pieces of intelligence had reached him only after the general had reviewed them. You don't believe in me, your general? Dengfeng argued adamantly. Song Hongbiao, I ask you, while the Yongyu prefecture still stands, do you think His Majesty would abandon Lai State? But Song Hongbiao expressed his worries. Just now, the Shang people said that Yongyu prefecture has also fallen. Even you've been deceived? Dengfeng cursed inwardly once more. Chun was exceedingly despicable, exploiting the 15-day deadline. At this critical moment, no information could be verified. It mattered not that Dengfeng had conviction and didn't believe these lies, because others would believe them. Shameless, utterly shameless. Dengfeng had never felt such suffocating frustration. The victory songs continued all around. The journey is slow, thirst and hunger in tow. My heart is filled with sorrow. Unnoticed is my woe. All night long, the hesitant songs faintly echoed like a continuous drizzle, incessantly drenching the bodies and souls of the people. Inside the city, the tens of thousands, especially the 8,000 defenders, felt their grief and sadness intensify with the passage of time. Their will to fight was gone, only waiting for dawn and someone to come to their rescue. The night was a blur. Finally, the stars shifted, the essence of day and night changed. Dawn broke. The bright jade that hung all night gradually fell, and a sun with a reddish halo, ting-tong, slowly rose, as tens of thousands climbed the city walls, craning their necks in anticipation of a Qing banner emerging in their sight. However, not only was there no Qing army banner in sight. Instead, even more dashing army banners appeared from all sides, vague and indistinct, the sheer number of men and horses unclear as they rapidly approached the city amidst swirling dust. General, where are the reinforcements? You promised there would be reinforcements? In fact, counting today, it's already the 16th day. The reinforcements haven't arrived. General, let's surrender and leave the city. It's too late. Under everyone's gaze, Dengfeng stepped onto the high platform, his voice tinged with guilt. Actually, the reinforcements will take another 5 days to arrive. Another 5 days? Everybody listen to me. Dengfeng raised his saber. Previously, when I said 15 days, it was to boost everyone's morale, but this time it's true, in no more than 5 days, His Majesty the Emperor will personally arrive at Green Ridge Mountain. By then, the Hu Ben army and the Xuanjia army outside the city will surely retreat. General, if I may be so bold, you've said something similar last time. And the provisions. General, you've already deceived us many times. General, I'm afraid it'll be another 5 days after these 5 days. There are simply no reinforcements. Not good. Everyone, look quick. The Shang people are preparing to attack the city. There's only one pot of tea's time left until the hour strikes. The celebratory singing outside the city halted abruptly, replaced by the earth-shattering beat of war drums, the grandeur of bugle calls, and the fluttering of military banners in the gale as ranks of troops were arrayed in formation. Additionally, there were crash cars, cloud ladders, Fenwen cars, and other large pieces of warfare machinery, each being pushed to the front. What do we do? If we don't surrender now, it'll be too late. General, Since there are no reinforcements, let's just surrender.
No surrendering. No surrendering.
I swear to the heavens, the reinforcements will truly arrive in 5 days. Deng Feng roared with all his might, but no one was willing to listen anymore. After repeated lies were exposed, his credibility had greatly diminished, and any words he spoke appeared pale and powerless. General, it's bad. The commander at the East City Gate just tried to open it, seeking death. Boom! Deng Feng, like a fierce tiger, dashed down the city wall on the walls, and at top speed reached the East City Gate, where he cleaved the commander to death. He had just put down his sword when he heard more reports from his subordinates. The commander at the South City Gate is setting fire to the gate. Meet your death. Deng Feng repeated his previous actions, showing no mercy in his killing. General, it's bad. 1000 Captain Wang Linen and 1000 Captain Zhao. This is terrible, a group of civilians, they. However, no matter what Deng Feng did, he couldn't stop the behavior of the masses. He felt an overwhelming sense of powerlessness, as if he were facing a landslide and tsunami. Even with a high level in the martial arts realm, he was still just an ordinary person, incapable of stopping the force of nature. This major force had existed all along, and it had been coming down from the Northern Territory, once momentarily stopped by his sole effort. But at last, the overwhelming force proved unstoppable. Under Chen's step-by-step siege of the heart, the sun rising today became the last straw that broke the camel's back. From this point on, the trend of surrendering spread like an unstoppable plague within the city. Defending the city was not a one-person affair. Let's not say he was at great perfection of the profound image realm. Even if he broke through to the martial saint realm right away, what could he do when everywhere around was ready to surrender? Could he possibly kill all 100,000 civilians in the city? Rumble. In the end, he was too exhausted to do anything, and the city gates to the south were blown open with a bang. Chapter 316. Conquering Deng Feng, Stabilizing Lai State _6. The first batch of officials leading the way, the generals left the city to meet the white-robed figure on a white horse who had been waiting for a long time. General Chen, don't attack the city. Don't attack the city. We surrender. We surrender. The city was completely plunged into chaos. Countless soldiers from Qing country streamed past Deng Feng, afraid that if they left the city even a moment later, they would miss the chance to surrender. Only Song Hongbiao and a few other trusted generals were still hesitating, but their eyes were also unsettled. Ha 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 ha. At that moment, Deng Feng suddenly laughed mockingly at the sky until he was out of breath. Then, with a trembling voice, he yelled at the heavens, I have lost. Watching the crowd flow past him like a tide, he, a man full of martial prowess, found no opportunity to employ it, and was completely enveloped in a feeling of despair so intense, it nearly suffocated him. He closed his eyes, his azure dragon crescent blade clanged to the ground, and then, drawing the general's sword from his waist, he was about to strike at his own neck. It was this action that incredibly brought the chaos within the city to a halt. General.
No, General.
Song Hongbiao and a few close generals rushed forward, encircling him. General, if you must die, kill us first. Deng Qingtian? The civilians were also stunned. They couldn't understand why opening the city gates to surrender would lead Deng Qingtian to prefer suicide. The reason they were desperate to surrender was simply to save their own lives. They had never considered causing General Deng to die. After all, General Chun Sansi had promised that if the city were surrendered, whether generals, civilians, or soldiers, none would be killed. If no one was to die, why not surrender? Why must it come to this? Mr. Deng. No, second master. In an instant, both civilians and soldiers alike knelt down, and suddenly, no one was running towards the city gates anymore, as if they had forgotten about surrendering to save their lives. You all want to surrender, so go surrender. What do you want from me? Deng Feng's eyes were bloodshot. For 6 generations, The Deng family has been loyal to Daqing. How could I, Deng Feng, be a treacherous, shameless traitor? If I don't kill myself, how can I face my ancestors? Boom! His gang qi erupted, directly blowing several of his subordinates away. He was about to act against himself. A voice rang out. General Deng, why speak such words? Appearing were a general in a white robe riding a white horse, swiftly arriving. Accompanying him were two other generals, Sha Wenlong and Cui Tsongyi, who also achieved great success in the profound image realm, along with the Hu Ben army and the Xuanjia army, completely surrounding them. The faces of Cui Tsongyi and the others were still filled with shock. Just a short while ago, they even had their weapons drawn, ready to take down Chen Sanxi's withdrawing troops. Then, at the same time, they received the news. Jiaodong Prefecture City was in chaos, and the East City Gate had been opened. After they led the troops in, they encountered no resistance, and thousands of iron armor soldiers surrendered and laid down their weapons. Chen had really done it. The once impregnable Jiaodong Prefecture City had, unbelievably, surrendered overnight. Moreover, it seemed that the main general, Deng Feng, had not intended to surrender, but he couldn't control the complete chaos within the city. With Deng Feng's prestige, it was unimaginable that the situation had developed this way. Why? Just because last night, Chen Sanxi had sent a group of surrendered soldiers to sing all night and then shout some words? Clearly, the content of the shouts was basically no different from what they had been saying before. Why did it work when Chen Sanxi said it, but not when they did? Now, the vast majority of the generals were under control, and the entire army had entered the city, stabilizing the situation. That is to say, Jiaodong Prefecture had been taken. In the final moments, when it seemed almost impossible, they had surrendered. Chao Fan had become somewhat numb. At this moment, as a member of the imperial family, a distinguished prince, he even hesitated to open his eyes to look at this general of similar age to himself. Sorely ashamed, Chen Sanxi, as he watched the overwhelming force of dashing iron cavalry approaching, Deng Feng couldn't help but burst out cursing, "You despicable villain! Using such a lowly tactic to trick the city gate open, what kind of skill is that? Why don't you lead the assault yourself, you?" As he cursed, he himself felt it was pointless, because he knew in his heart, this was not some conspiracy or trick. It was an overwhelming force, a trend he had personally experienced as unstoppable. This general, barely 18 or 19 years old, actually knew how to use a magic skill that had never appeared on the battlefield before. He had underestimated him after all. Enough! The city gate was already breached, and the civilians inside would not be involved. Further talk was useless. Death was the only way to apologize. General Deng, Chen Sanxi quickly ordered, Cui Tsongyi, Sha Wenlong, you two control him immediately. Don't let him commit suicide. As you command. Now that Jiaodong Prefecture City had surrendered, Chen naturally remained the commander, and his orders must be obeyed. You two fools, coming to die? Deng Feng's eyes bulged with anger, and with a stamp of his foot, he grasped the azure dragon crescent blade again. Ferocious gang qi bursting like formidable dragons, he prepared to strike at the two men. Deng Feng, how dare you? Cui Tsongyi coldly chided. Are you planning to rebel after surrendering? Planning to let your subordinates die with you? You. Deng Feng knew that alone, even if he could defeat Cui Tsongyi and Sha Wenlong, he would be injured, and with thousands of troops behind them, most likely he would implicate his remaining subordinates and civilians. In other words, resistance would not recapture the city but would only lead to the slaughter of its citizens. Confrontations between high-realm martial artists are decisive. In a few breaths' time, Sha Wenlong and Cui Tsongyi had already rushed forward, holding mystic iron chains specially designed for high-realm martial artists. Enveloped in gang qi, they pierced through tens of Deng Feng's acupoints like black pythons, finally even locking his scapula, completely controlling him. In such a state, even a meridian passage realm martial artist could be restrained. Under the immense pain, Deng Feng only grunted, not letting out the slightest scream. Take him away! Cui Tsongyi ordered the 2 minor Meridian Passage assistant generals. Guard him well. Chapter 317. Crown Prince Rebels. General Deng. As they watched him being taken away, both soldiers and civilians almost unanimously exclaimed, General Chun. Those who surrender will not be killed. You said it yourself. But please do not harm General Deng's life. Indeed, General Deng's honor reaches the skies. Ever since his arrival in Lai State, who knows how many good deeds he has done. Shut up, all of you. Sha Wenlong cursed impatiently. Whether he lives or dies, is it up to you to discuss?
Kui Konji, S.A.K. Wenlong.
Chan Sansi gave his orders. Now that Xiaodong has surrendered, there's no need to worry about our rear. I command Cui Tsongyi to lead the Hu Ben army to Green Ridge Mountain to set up camp and intercept the Qing country reinforcements from Green Ridge Mountain. Sha Wenlong, take 3,000 men and station the surrendered soldiers at the camp 30 miles outside the city. Without my orders, you are not permitted to enter the city. Additionally, princely heir Chao Fan, take more than 20 cavalrymen and return quickly to Yongyu Prefecture to report back to Meng Deshui. The rest shall stay in the city on standby with me. Oh, and leave Deng Feng in the city as well. By your command. Cui Tsongyi left reluctantly with his orders. Not allow me into the city? Sha Wenlong cursed inwardly but had no choice but to comply. He and Chao Fan came to the city gates when suddenly, Sha Wenlong voiced his concerns with some unease. Young master, with Chen's arrangement, giving you just over 20 cavalrymen to return to Yongyu Prefecture, could it be that he has some ulterior motive? Startled by this suggestion, Chao Fan felt a chill. Could he? Why couldn't he? Sha Wenlong lowered his voice and analyzed. By arranging things this way, he clearly wants to split us up.
No harm.
A shadow emerged slowly from the darkness. Pei Tianan bowed and said, Young master, I will personally accompany you back to Yongyu Prefecture to report. Chao Fan asked, what about the matters in the city? Just an incense burner. Smiling Tiger Pei Tianan said with a smile. Leave the collection to Yun Xiaozi and the others. As for other matters, in my opinion, it's not easy to act on Xiaodong Prefecture now. Better choose elsewhere. That would be the most prudent approach. Sha Wenlong agreed. Then let it be so. Soon, everyone took their respective places. Cui Tsongyi led the Hu Ben army as the vanguard directly towards Green Ridge Mountain. Sha Wenlong oversaw the surrendered soldiers outside the city, unable to enter without an order. Chao Fan, meanwhile, led 20 men towards Yongyu Prefecture. Chun Sansi watched with his own eyes. In the departing troop of Chao Fan, there was a powerful and overwhelming aura. Who else could it be but Marshal Saint Pei Tianan, aside from that eunuch surnamed Feng who was also in the troop? That is to say, now only 2 Taoists from Ci Yun Temple might still be lurking in the city, not yet gone. According to memory, these 2 old Taoists, one strong and one weak, one in the Meridian Passage realm with incense magic skills and purple mystical energy of average level, the other in the Hua Jin realm with thin mystical energy of incense. Chun Sansi was now adept in the Meridian Passage method and the sword chi skill. Handling these 2 men would be no trouble at all. After setting up the military forces within the city, Lai Zi slipped away quietly, heading straight for the Guanyin Temple in Xiaodong Prefecture. Yongyu Prefecture. King Tang Li Gong in full armor, 2,000 iron cavalry ready for battle inside the city. In addition, more than 30,000 foot soldiers were ready for deployment. The war drums shook the earth and the skies while shouts and calls of battle rose and fell. The deputy general hurried over. Prince! Great news. Meng Qiuji and his men outside are starting to retreat, even leaving behind many siege weapons and supplies. Good. Keep scouting and report back. The moment they retreat, we'll strike like thunder from the city and pursue them. Li Gong raised the general's sword high, about to issue a command, when a black hawk descended in a spiral to alight on his arm. This? Is it a message from Deng Feng? Why would he send a message at this time? Is there anything urgent? He opened the letter. Inside were a few lines of hastily written, almost scribbled text, written urgently enough that instead of ink, it was in blood. Deng Feng incompetent, fear Jiaodong Prefecture City cannot hold. Deng can only die to apologize for his failure. Please, Prince, be cautious in your actions. Overrun. After reading the content, Li Gong's ears rang incessantly as if a venomous bee had burrowed into his mind, his expression fluctuating erratically. Overrun? What nonsense is Deng Feng talking to me? Wasn't everything still all right yesterday? How could Jiaodong Prefecture be breached overnight? What? The Deputy General was shocked. Prince, how could this be possible? A single night, unless the city walls have collapsed. Or, Li Gong's eyelids twitched. He surrendered. That's even less likely. The Deputy General holding the blood letter. If he had surrendered, why would Deng Feng even say he needs to die to apologize? Report. Prince, intelligence from the other prefectures has arrived. Last night, turmoil erupted within Jiaodong Prefecture City. General Deng, despite his best efforts, was unable to quell the disturbances and was captured alive by Chun Sansi and is now detained by the military. The 8 prefectures also say that if no reinforcements come, they are prepared to surrender as well. Dare they speak to me like this? Damn scoundrels! Li Gong struggled to control his emotions, almost roaring. The main general has not surrendered, yet chaos breaks out within the city first. Are we overestimating Deng Feng's capability, or does the one surnamed Chan have some sort of devilish spell? Prince, calm your anger. The deputy general felt helpless. What shall we do next? If Deng Feng falls, the rest of the 8 prefectures are bound to follow suit like the previous 27 prefectures, and will be left an isolated city. Panic for what? The emperor is on his way. Li Gong was after all a grand commander, quickly regaining his calm and judging swiftly. Moreover, I've just received news that those scoundrels from Nanshu country, without our consent, have already entered the territory of Daqing. The deputy general heard this and his face filled with loathing. Those bastards from Su country, really like blood-thirsty wild dogs. Chapter 318 The Crown Prince Rebels _2. Indeed, but there are benefits to this situation as well. Li Gong spoke in a deep voice. They will arrive at Hilagwan much faster than expected. Although the Shang people have now taken over the entirety of Lai State, they do not have wings. It takes time to assemble troops, gather forces, and dispatch orders. Not to mention, they will need to dispatch a large number of people to Green Ridge Mountain first, and the ones left behind to surround me wouldn't dare to diminish their numbers. At most, they could spare a few thousand men to head towards Hilagwan. Nan Su, 100,000 strong army. A few thousand men, can they hold it? All considered, the advantage still remains on our side. It's just that the Shang people have been given an opportunity to maneuver. Pass down my command. All troops be on alert and prepare for the Shang people's fierce attack. Then, figure out a way to inform Deng Feng to take his own life quickly. There's no need for him to continue losing face here. A Xuanxiang realm great perfection, someone who could break through to Martial Saint in another 2 years, has been captured by an assistant general in the Meridian Passage realm. How does he even have the face to live until now? Yes. Outside the city, the Shang army camp. The Crown Prince himself is leading the supervisory battle and will arrive in just half a month. Meng Qiuji, looking at the newly received message, had an ugly expression. And just at this time, we have to retreat. Indeed, Zhang Taoming said. Isn't this a slap in the Crown Prince's face? The Hu Ben Army's commander Fan Tianfa spoke. Commander Meng, how about we hold out a little longer? We can't hold out any longer. Meng Qiuji, pointing at the map, said, take a good look. If we don't retreat now, we'll really be too late. Let's pull back first and then reassess the situation. Perhaps there's still a chance to strike back. As for the pressure from the Emperor, I alone will bear it. It's the same saying, only by remaining undefeated can we find a chance to exploit the enemy army's weaknesses. However, considering the time, why haven't Sha Wenlong and the others brought Chun Sansi back yet? We don't have the time to wait. Report. Commander, the young master has returned with a group of more than 20 riders. 20 people? Meng Qiuji rushed out of the tent. Commander Meng. Chao Fan dismounted to greet him. Where are they? Meng Qiuji looked toward the rear. What about the others? Commander, there's no one else.
Cao Phan answered, Giao Tông Prefecture
Has been taken. Surrounded by cheers of victory, and Deng Feng captured alive? After hearing this, Meng Qiuji, Fan Tianfa, and including Zhan Taoming were all exchanging glances. With Deng Feng not dead, it seemed too far-fetched to have taken Jiaotong Prefecture overnight. Good. After hearing the detailed explanation, Meng Qiuji couldn't help but curl his lips upward. That kid really came up with something. Phew. Not far away, Fang Qingyun, who had been vouching for it, let out a sigh of relief. No matter how much he believed in his junior, it wasn't the same as being there himself. His understanding of the situation was only conjecture, and as time grew increasingly pressing, it was impossible not to worry. He couldn't help but express his admiration. This General Deng is truly extraordinary, completely resisting the trend of surrender in Lai state by his own strength. We were just a little short of ruining all our previous efforts. Indeed, Fan Tianfa agreed. Moreover, without this man, it will greatly assist us in the upcoming situation. What a shame, Zhan Taoming regretted. This man was too loyal and just. Even after being captured, he surely wouldn't concede to our great Shang. As per the rules, if a captured military officer does not surrender within 7 days and has no further intelligence value, he must be executed immediately. All thanks to General Fang's strenuous persuasion, Meng Qiuji remarked emotionally. Otherwise, we might have really screwed up big time. The situation is still not optimistic. Fang Qingyun brought everyone back to the topic at hand. We still need to carefully plan the subsequent arrangements. Right. Meng Qiuji, with one hand, picked up the wheelchair, directly lifting the Confucian scholar along with the wheelchair into the air, and hurried into the central army tent before the map. General Fang, we currently have 2 main tasks. The first is to do everything possible to take down Li Gong within Yongyu Prefecture. The second is to stop the army from Green Ridge Mountain. According to what I know, Qing country's martial saints are few in number now. They also need to guard their own borders against enemies and can't spare additional manpower. That's why the Emperor of Qing is leading the campaign himself. Besides Cui Tsongyi, General Fan also must hurry to Green Ridge Mountain as soon as possible. Here, we still need to wait for the Crown Prince's reinforcements before launching a fierce attack on Yongyu Prefecture. But the problem is, what about Hulaguin? Nansu country's 100,000-strong army is very likely to arrive soon. How should we respond? Prince Zhan Nandown South has tied up 2 of their martial saints along with half their elite forces. According to the reports, the current leaders of this 100,000-strong army are 2 princes of Nansu in the Xuanxiang realm. But our Xuanxiang isn't sufficient, and due to the previous focus on attacking, there are nearly no defenses within Hulaguin. By the fastest calculations, those who could reach Hulaguin quickest are only General Chen's 3,000 Xuanjia army. The rest of the large forces will take at least 3 months to gather and be redeployed. This battle is going to be very tough. Tough as it may be, we must fight. Fang Qingyun, holding a flute, pointed to the location of Hulaguin. This pass ranks among the top 4 formidable passes in the land, known as a pass where 1 man guards the gate and 10,000 are unable to break through. Along with a 100,000-strong army, many of which are new recruits trained only in the past couple of years, 3,000 black armor might just be able to hold out for 3 months. This will carry significant risk. The greater the risk, the greater the reward. My suggestion is to give up Hulaguin and make Jiaotong Prefecture City a node of contention with the enemy forces. In that case, this war will have to continue for at least another 2 years. How much provision will be consumed in these 2 years? How many silver taels will the treasury have to spend? On the other hand, if Hulaguin can just hold out for 3 months, during this period, taking down Li Gong's forces and the Emperor of Qing from Green Ridge Mountain will naturally retreat, and Nansu country will have no choice but to abandon their efforts too. Therefore, defending Hilagwan is still the best choice. Chapter 319 Crown Prince Rebels _3. What if we can't hold it for 3 months? General Fong, can you guarantee that we can really hold Hilagwan? This time, Fong Qingyun dared not be so certain. If we can't hold it, there's a 50% chance. That's right, Meng Qiuji said. With a 50% probability, even General Fong, who likes to use surprise tactics, would find it too low, wouldn't he? General Meng, this matter is of great importance. It's not something just you and I can decide. How about this? Fong Qingyun said. Let's ask His Majesty and His Highness for their opinions, and let His Majesty decide in the end whether to adopt a strategy of long-term dominion or take the risk of defending Hilagwan and try to quickly take Yongyu Prefecture to force the enemy army back and recover 3 states. Good. Meng Qiuji did not refuse. His Highness is not far from us, and His Majesty is always at Kunlun Mountain comprehending the Tao around this time of the year, not as far as from the capital city. If we used the Crown Prince's Divine Eagle, it would be even faster. There's enough time, let's do it this way. Tongnan Prefecture. Crown Prince's residence. The Crown Prince, now past his 60s, was playing chess with a black-robed monk. During the game, an eunuch brought up a meal and gently placed it beside the chessboard. The dignified Crown Prince, heir supervisor, usually had extremely simple meals, consisting only of 2 dishes of vegetables and a bowl of rice. After so many years, Your Highness is still so frugal. The monk flicked his Buddha beads and slowly made a move. You eat even more simply than I do, a monk. If I don't save some, how can I set a good example, letting the officials and my son also follow in saving? If everyone is extravagant, where would the silver for this war come from? The Crown Prince picked up his chopsticks, pushed half of the rice in his bowl to the other side, and then began to eat. The black-robed monk looked at him with complex eyes and said, After several years, Your Highness now can't even finish a bowl of rice? Getting old, cough, cough. The Crown Prince turned his face aside to cough a few times. Then, after wiping his face with a handkerchief, continued speaking, Never mind, let's continue. We can eat and play chess without delay. Alas, since Your Highness started supervising the state, you've overworked day and night and severely exhausted yourself. The black-robed monk picked up a white piece and gently placed it on the board. Your Highness, urgent news from the Divine Eagle. Read it. The Crown Prince, while observing the board, slowly brought rice to his mouth. Yes. The attendant opened the petition and read it word by word. As the details emerged, the expressions of the Crown Prince and the black-robed monk continued to change. Getting so engrossed in the news they momentarily forgot the chess game before them. What a genius! Chun Sansi is truly a leader sent from heaven. The Crown Prince's appreciation was evident. From capturing Prince Yu-1 at the beginning to now, the widespread celebrations, each and every event, which one isn't a feat unparalleled in history. I determine, these words will be passed down through the ages, lasting longer than I, or even my father. Why would Your Highness say that? The monk gently placed a piece. With me here, Your Highness could perhaps last through the ages as well. Old Yao. The Crown Prince laid down his chopsticks and sighed. I have never pursued the elusive path of immortality like my father. I just want to accomplish something with this life. Years of warfare, constant turmoil, corruption rampant, the martial arts sects bullying the commoners. This world needs to be set right. But I can't take a step further. I simply don't have enough power. The black-robed monk asked. So, Your Highness thinks that we should next defend Hulao, take Lai State, or after a great sacrifice, directly retreat to the border and choose another day? Thinking of severing ties, it would take at least 2 years. The silver in the national treasury isn't infinite. These 40 years were hard-earned savings. If indeed such a long conflict arises, it might take a decade to recover, not to mention the need to deal with the northern tribes later. If we withdraw, the next opportunity might be unknown years in the future. The Crown Prince made up his mind. Defending Hulao is worth a try. Whether we can hold it or not is another matter, but I just want to ask one thing. If we successfully recover the 3 states afterward, how great are our chances of winning at Ziwei Mountain? In the capital city, we can't win. The black-robed monk calculated, but at Ziwei Mountain, we only have a 70% chance of success. Victory isn't guaranteed. Your Highness, you may carefully consider it. It's not too late to change your mind. As the conversation reached this point, the crown prince stopped talking and stared at the chessboard, silently eating his meal until he had finished most of the rice in the bowl. He then picked up the teapot and poured it into his bowl, mixing the leftover oil with the tea water and drinking it all. He set down his bowl and chopsticks, slowly picked up a black piece, hesitated for the last 2 seconds, and then decisively placed the piece on the board, causing the entire board to tremble. If we're going to play chess, let's play it thoroughly. Kunlun Mountain, Cave Heaven-blessed land. This place was originally a natural cave. Many years ago, Emperor Longqing, while enjoying a mountain and water excursion, took a short rest inside the cave. It was here, inside this cave, that the emperor dreamed of an immortal. Since then, Emperor Longqing began to have craftsmen transform the cave into a palace hidden within the mountain, coming here every year to stay for a while. Your Majesty! The chamberlain, ritual supervision eunuch Huang Hong, hurried in with a report. Battle news from the Eastern Territory. Emperor Longqing, wearing a seemingly plain but exquisitely made Taoist robe, continued to sit cross-legged with closed eyes, giving no response upon hearing the eunuch's words. Huang Hong tactfully read in a low voice. Chapter 320 The Crown Prince Rebels _4. It was merely a repetition of the affairs at Hulao Pass. At the end, he concluded, defending Hulaguin poses great risks, but correspondingly, the rewards are also very high. Presently, General Fong, His Highness the Crown Prince, all agree with this strategy. His Highness's exact words on the petition were, "This prince is willing to personally join the battle array, even if it means sacrificing my life, to restore Daxing's terrain and fulfill the long-standing wish of my father, the Emperor at Ziwei Mountain." Hearing this, Emperor Longqing finally let out a light chuckle. "My son has always been dutiful since childhood." Your Majesty, then? Huang Hong asked softly, "How will this battle be fought?" "Fight it as they suggest." Emperor Longqing's voice was as calm as a still well. "Tell them, even if Hulaguin falls, they must fight for me at all costs. I do not want any casualty figures. I only want Ziwei Mountain. By the way, have there been any leads on Sun Xiangzong's whereabouts?" "To answer Your Majesty, no." Huang Hong bowed his head. "Ever since the expansion of the army, his traces have been unfindable." "Then send Fong Qingyun to Hulao Pass too," Emperor Longqing said calmly. "I refuse to believe that after Fong Qingyun's disability, he has completely lost all means. This is also a good opportunity to force him to make use of whatever he has left. Sending Fong Qingyun is indeed suitable, but does Chun Sansi also need to go along?" Huang Hong cautiously reminded. "Previously, didn't you say that Chun Sansi needs more growth and is meant for great tasks in the future? Wouldn't it be too regrettable if he were to fall at Hulaguin? Ziwei Mountain is a matter of utmost importance." Emperor Longqing spoke unhurriedly. "Even if he only delays them 2 months, Chun Sansi's death would be worthy. Naturally, I will properly take care of his family and confer a posthumous title on him. This servant understands. I will make the arrangements immediately." Jiaodong Prefecture. In front of the gates of Guanyin Temple, a man and a woman arrived hand in hand. "Master, must we come to pray now, amidst such turmoil?" "What do you know?" "The master in the temple told me that today is an auspicious day. Praying today will definitely result in conceiving. Besides, the battle is over. After General Chun entered the city, he did not violate even a hair of the people. It's all peaceful now. What are you afraid of?" "Oh, hurry up. I'll wait here for you. Remember to pray for exactly 3 hours. Pray sincerely." The woman, with her dainty lotus steps, quickly entered the temple. "Tsk tisk." Zhang Lai suddenly appeared. "I say, old man, You might as well stop praying to Buddha and pray to me, Zhang Lai instead. I'm more useful than any deity in the temple. I guarantee your wife will conceive. The wealthy-looking middle-aged man, seeing a Jianghu knight with an ugly appearance and a sword hanging at his waist, did not react at first. What do you mean by that? What do I mean? Chan Sansi sneered. What I mean is that Zhang Lai's method is more effective than that of the monks. Ah? Only then did the middle-aged man understand the implication. You mean the child my wife might conceive wouldn't be the deity's blessing but a seed from the monk? The masters are so respected. How could they possibly do such a thing? Chun Sansi did not respond but leaped over the not very high temple wall and entered the temple. The middle-aged man, watching him disappear and feeling panicked, tried to enter through the main gate but was stopped by the guarding monks, which made him even more uncertain and increasingly uneasy. Finally, gathering his courage, he moved a stone to step on and also climbed over the wall into the courtyard. At this deep hour of midnight, the vast temple was dark and silent. Only the main hall, honoring Guanyin of the Child Granting, flickered with dim candlelight. A young woman in pink clothing knelt on a cushion, devoutly offering incense prayers. Just as she quietly made a wish, behind the statue of the deity, a hidden chamber door suddenly opened. Following that, one figure after another emerged, until, finally, 7 or 8 burly monks surrounded the woman. At this moment, the woman finally understood why the temple's child granting was so efficacious. Blushing, she stood up and wanted to leave. She was stopped by the lead monk grabbing her sleeve. Amipa, madam, where do you think you're going? I want to go home. Madam, where are you going? Don't you want a child anymore? Not anymore. Stop. Madam, do you think you can still leave? Just obey us. We 8 monks will perform an enlightenment ceremony for you. And after you go home, you're sure to conceive. I'm fighting back. Having seen what was happening, the middle-aged man, unable to contain his rage, charged at them barehanded. Fornicating monks. Fornicating monks. Layman, you must not slander. We were merely preparing to perform enlightenment for the lady. Bang! The lead monk lifted a leg to kick the man, but as his leg rose, a cold gleam flashed by, and he felt a chill on his leg. Looking down, he saw it was missing half, followed immediately by a gush of fresh blood. He wailed, collapsing to the ground, grappling with his severed leg. Clink, clink, clink. Chun Sansi's Miao long sword swung continuously, the sword lights forming a continuous bloom, like a blooming lotus. Within a few breaths, the ground became a pool of blood, and the 8 members of the Incense Fire Divine sect breathed their last. Murder! The middle-aged man, with the woman, fled in panic. Chun Sansi did not rush to extract the Xianzhu, because he knew the incense in front had already been taken. He had come here to flush out the snake, hoping to gain big. Your Excellency is Zhang Lai Hero Zhang, right? Indeed. An angry voice erupted. Yun Xiaozi and Ling Shuzi, one in front and one behind, entered the main hall.